All right, everybody, thanks for being patient with us tonight. We're going to get back at it here. Do I have a motion to return to open session?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Franklin, a second by Dr. Guitry. Any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to certify closed session that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Roundtree and a second by Ms. Purcell. Any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to reinstate student A as of tomorrow?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Franklin, a second by Ms. Bond. Any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond? Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. All right. Next up is our honors, awards, and recognitions portion. We'll start off with our MCPS mission and belief statements. Our student representatives tonight are Jomama Amin from Christiansburg High School and Naomi Ramos Mendoza from Eastern Montgomery High School. Will you please read our mission and belief statements?
MCPS is an innovative educational community. We value diversity and we are committed to equity and inclusion. MCPS empowers learners to realize success in an ever-changing global society through collaboration with communities, families, staff, and students. MCPS provides a safe, engaging learning environment and intentional exposure to positive social, emotional, and academic experiences.
All students can learn in order to pursue their dreams. Schools are safe places of joy, wonder, and creativity. Every person deserves to be loved, valued, and respected. Kindness is an essential skill of a responsible, productive community member. The diversity of our community is one of our greatest strengths. All people deserve equitable access to opportunities and resources. Every child deserves an advocate. Honoring the voices of students and other stakeholders strengthens the school community. Open communication and feedback are vital to our growth. Learning and teaching are collective efforts that begin at birth and involve the entire community. Relationship building and high expectations are foundational to student success.
Great, thank you. Our next item of business is the student representative reports. Jomana, do you have a report from Christiansburg High School?
Yes. Since our previous update at the last school board meeting, CHS has had the following events and celebrations to share. The CHS Choir Department hosted the Christiansburg Strand Pyramid Concert that included students from Bellevue, Falling Branch, Christiansburg Elementary, Christiansburg Middle School, and Christiansburg High School. The CHS Music Department hosted Elementary Night at the Theater on Thursday, April 4th during the school day for elementary students to experience the CHS band and choir performing. They held 2 other performances for the community on Friday, April 5th and Saturday, April 6th. The CHS choir and CHS band both earned superior ratings in all disciplines at their spring assessments, which means that CHS will receive the VMEA Blue Ribbon Award. The CHS Math Mac team finished 2nd overall at the Super Mac tournament. 2 CHS students were recognized by the Blacksburg Regional Art Association as winners for the MCPS Secondary Art Show. And for winter sports season, CHS has had 2 individual state champions that will also be recognized later in tonight's meeting. Those 2 individuals were Summer Hamlin, who won the 3A 500-meter dash, along with the setting a new school record, and Brady Hand, who was the 3A 138-pound wrestling state title. For the current spring sports season, CHS is off to a good start. The varsity girls softball team is currently undefeated. The boys soccer team has 3 wins, 1 loss. The girls soccer team has 4 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie. The boys tennis team has 2 wins, 0 losses, and the boys and girls outdoor track teams have had some stellar performances in their first few meets. The CHS Theater Department will host their annual Pirates and Princesses event on Saturday, April 13th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Come spend a magical morning with pirates, princesses, and storybook characters playing games, completing crafts, enjoying door prizes, and other activities as well. CHS will have their 4th quarter club meeting day on April 16th, which is our final club meeting for the school year. CHS Musical Department continues their preparation for spring musical Tuck Everlasting. The musical will take place on May 10th, 11th, and 12th. CHS continues to have increased participation in their all and tutoring program that takes place on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 3 to 4:30 after school. And in an effort to encourage attendance for the last 9 weeks of the school year, CHS has implemented an attendance incentive program for any student that attends every day for the full day during a week, and they'll be eligible to receive a $10 gift card to a local restaurant or fast food location. Currently, we are selecting 3 students from each grade level every week for the last 9 weeks. And lastly, CHS continues to move forward with construction, and some major changes can be seen as you drive down Independence Boulevard. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Naomi, do you have a report from Eastern Montgomery High School?
I do. EMHS has been on a steady ride these past few months preparing for big upcoming events, as well as students have been going strong and pushing through these last few months of school. This year's prom was a blast on April 6th. Seniors and juniors looked forward to our Enchanted Forest-themed prom. Walking into the venue, it was very captivating and definitely a dance to remember. Also, looking on the positive side of things, our Interact Club partnered up with the American Red Cross staff to set up a blood drive for March 1st. It was very successful, and we thank all the amazing blood donors who participated. In total, we collected 20 units of whole blood. Something exciting that happened during March as well was Mr. Eaton brought back an annual field trip to Washington, D.C. for March 15th. And many students raced to get a spot on the buses to have a very fun and educational field trip to D.C. We also finally have our set graduation date for May 17th, and I can confidently say that seniors are eagerly waiting for that day to come. We are also proud to announce that Elise Dunnington placed first place at the MCPS and High School Student Art Show at the Montgomery Museum on March 7th. It was a very beautiful piece of artwork. Our upcoming events include a lip sync battle and talent show on April 10th during club time. It will be hosted by YOVASO and our music club. We are inviting all our EMHS students, teachers, and administration to participate. Donations from entry will also greatly benefit the organization. And on April 27th, there will be an EMHS plant sale. Also, the Corps of Cadets is collecting donations for Eastern Montgomery Elementary 5th graders on April 17th. Any donations, such as hygiene items, are encouraged for up-and-coming 6th graders. In addition, our school will be looking forward to our EMHS band's performance for the opportunity to play God Bless America during pre-race festivities at the NASCAR race in Martinsville on Sunday, April 7th. Now on to sports. I'm happy to announce that EMHS is very proud of our athletes. They've made great achievements for every game, no matter the outcome. Starting with our baseball team, they have been having an amazing season with 5 games won out of 7. Our softball girls have been having a steady season and with amazing achievements and improvements within the team. And our EMHS soccer team has been on a winning streak for the last few games. We are eagerly looking forward to our athletic seasons and are proud of each and every one of their accomplishments. Thank you.
Okay. Great, thank you so much, appreciate it. All right, next up, we are all in for a treat tonight. We have the Margaret Beeks Elementary School 5th graders here to perform a scene from their play, The Lion King. Students worked on rewriting and adapting the script, and the entire 5th grade class worked on the play, either acting, singing, building sets, making costumes, or doing makeup. And we all can't wait to see it tonight.
To tell us a little bit about what we're going to see, but you guys may want to come down and join us down here so you can get a better view, if you would like that.
I'm going to talk this way. So this is the second year of our 5th grade play at Margaret Beeks. Our fifth graders last year came and asked for permission to do a play that they had written, an adaptation of Moana. And it's so excited everybody that our fifth graders this year wanted to continue the tradition and have an adaptation of The Lion King for us. They're going to perform the scene Hakuna Matata. And we have our chorus birds who are going to be here with us are Kate, Maya, and Dalen. Young Simba is played by Braden. Adult Simba is played by Henrietta. Pumbaa is Evie, and Timon is Jade. We've had a lot of community support for this. Ms. Larson is our STEM teacher. She's worked on the theater aspect. Mr. Ballard is our music teacher. He has worked on the musical aspect. We have one of our costume designers, Amelie, is here. One of our our former fifth graders, it's now sixth grader at Blacksburg Middle School, has helped extensively with choreography. Charlotte is here as well. So we have a huge production here. And without further ado, I'm going to let them perform Hakuna Matata for you.
I love this game. Bowling for buzzards never gets old.
Hey, gets them every time.
Better come look at this, Timon. You're gonna want to see this. I think it's still alive.
What do we have here? Oh, jeez, it's a lion.
But Timon, it's just a little lion. He's so cute. Can we keep him, please?
Pumbaa, are you nuts? He's gonna eat us.
He's just a little lion.
And little lions turn into big lions.
Yeah, but maybe he'll be on our side.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Maybe he'll... Wait, I've got an idea. Maybe he'll be on our side.
So we're keeping him?
Duh, who's the brains of this organization? Let's see if we can wake him up.
I have an idea.
You okay, kid?
I guess so.
I saved you. Ow, well, it's little Pumbaa here, I guess.
Thanks for your help.
He looks blue.
I would say brownish gold.
No, I mean he's sad.
Oh. So, what's eating, kid?
Nothing. He's at the top of the food chain. So, where'd you come from?
Doesn't matter. I can't go back anyway.
Ah, you're an outcast. So are we. You need a little lesson in Hakuna Matata.
Kunima, what?
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase.
Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze. Means no worries for the rest of your days. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
An antelope?
Sorry, people, all an antelope.
What about a zebra?
No zebra.
And what do you eat?
These.
Ew!
Just gotta get used to it, kid.
Slimy yet satisfying.
It does nothing.
Mm.
Slimy yet satisfying.
Why? When he was a young warthog.
When I was a young warthog!
Very nice.
Thanks!
He found his aroma like a certain appeal. He could feel in savannah after every meal.
I'm a sensitive soul, though I seem thick-skinned. And it hurt that my friends never stood downwind. And oh, the shame!
He was ashamed.
The thought of changing my
Oh,
name!
what's in the name?
Then I got downhearted!
How did you feel?
Every time that
Not in front of the kids.
Oh, sorry. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze.
It means no worries for the rest of your day.
Yeah, sing it, kid.
It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. Matata, Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata, Hakuna
performance is May 2nd and May 3rd. It'll be at Margaret Beeks Elementary School. We'd love to have as many of you who want to come out to it, support it. Any donations that come our way only help go more to our students producing the best things that we can. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was outstanding. Next up, Mark Husband will begin our recognition of the VHSL Athletic Winter 2023-24 state champions.
Again, thank you for the opportunity to recognize MCPS students who won VHSL athletic state championships during the 2003-2004 winter season. We have 10 student champions and 1 team champion to recognize. To recognize these students, we have Ms. Wood-Setzer, principal at Blacksburg High School, and Mr. Gwynn, principal at Christiansburg High School.
Good, excuse me. Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see you all today. And I am very proud of our students and their coaches who have achieved such high honor. First, at this time, I'd like to introduce Coach Chris Johnson, our BHS wrestling coach.
Hello, thank you for having us. I'm honored to celebrate with Braden Henderson, who won the 132-pound 4A state championship for us this year. Braden won all of his tournaments and matches wrestled in the state of Virginia this past season. We took him to West Virginia to get him beat and try to expose him a little bit before our postseason. One of his losses up there was to a 3-time state champ, and the other one was to another state champ. So very quality competition that he faced. Braden finished this season with a record of 38-2, and he won the Titan Tough Man for the 3rd time. He won the Judges Invitational at John Hanley High School in Winchester. He won the Big Blue Tournament here at Christiansburg. He won the 4A region tournament for the 2nd time. This year he defeated a 2-time state runner-up in the finals of that with about a 1-minute pin in the finals, which was fantastic. That carried him into the state tournament, and Braden was able to get a reversal with 4 seconds left in the match to win 2-1. That match not only won him a state title, it was his 100th career victory, and it was on his birthday. He is the first Blacksburg wrestler that I'm aware of to reach 100 wins, first for me, and really happy to celebrate Braden. Love to bring him up and acknowledge him. Braden Henderson.
I'm very excited to introduce to you Mr. Chris Riley. He is our BHS coach for swim and dive. One of my favorites because that's what my grandchildren do.
Thank you very much for having me. I've had the honor to be the Blacksburg High School swim and dive coach now for 12 years, as well as been coaching the middle school for Blacksburg for the last 6 years. And I'd like to bring up Theo Villanueva first. Theo has he is a two-time defending state champion in diving now. He's won the last 2 years, and I've known Theo for 6 years now. He originally was on the swim team with the middle school, and it became evident that probably he should be a diver instead of a swimmer. And is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we've had this discussion. So he's became a diver, and he's been a phenomenal diver. The last 2 years he's won state, and he's going to continue his education next year at the University of Alabama, and I can't be happier to have been Theo's coach for the last 6 years. Thank you, Theo. I pushed something. Oh, next I'd like to bring up the whole boys swim team. So if you're in the audience, come on up, boys, please. Yeah, I should have had you stay up here, Theo. The boys swim team, this is just about everyone on the swim team. Over here at the end, we have Cameron Roy, and then next to him we have Mason Fenn. Next to him we have my son Sam Riley, and next to Sam we have Zach Sturk, and then we have Gael Monsoon. We already introduced you to Theo. And over here we have Bodie Thompson, and next to Bodie we have Santi Angelo, and then on the other side of Santi we have Ryan Zhang, and then the man and the best looking man in the house here we have is Brandon Fan. Or Brandon Hugh, I'm sorry, Brandon. So these boys, this is the 4th state championship in the last 6 years for Blacksburg High School Swim and Dive. They were absolutely incredible. We won state by a total of 8 points, and we needed every single boy to perform at their best, and they did. We set 4 school records for the boys, and the only event we won at state was Theo in the diving. Everything else we placed high enough in all of our events that we were able to win state, and I couldn't be prouder to have been the coach for these boys, and I'm gonna miss my seniors so much. So I just want to say thank you again to the boys. You're awesome. Our girls took 3rd place this year in state, but we did have one diver that won the state championships. And Peyton, why don't you come on up here? And Peyton moved here as a junior, and she's dove for the last 2 years. And last year at state, she ended up second place. And the girl graduated, so Peyton stayed on, and she won the state championship. And she has been an absolute pleasure to get to know for the last 2 years. And I still can't say her last name, and if any of you can, good for you. It doesn't sound how it's spelled. I'll say that. Right? Okay, you say it. Say your last name for us.
Cedricson.
Yeah, exactly how it's spelled, Steverickson. But Peyton has just been an absolute joy. She won state, and it wasn't even close. She is an absolutely phenomenal diver, and she's going to continue she's a senior. Unfortunately, she's graduating, and she's going to be going to the University of Virginia next year. So thank you so much, Peyton, for being part of the Blacksburg High School program.
Okay, so Stephen Howard is our BHS track and field coach. However, he is ill tonight. So we do have an assistant coach, Mr. Chad Cox, who is going to come forward and talk to us about our wonderful state winners for track and field.
Thank you so much for having us here tonight to recognize our girls runners for our team for this year. I've been an assistant coach at Blacksburg High School since the fall of 2015, and it's a great group of athletes to work with. Really excited to talk about them tonight. They helped our team this year place first in the region, state or region champions, and then they helped us be second at the state meet for indoor track. So recognizing 2 relay teams. So the first group, and I'll have them come up, is Cameron Lee, Tess Dickens, Allie McDonald. Come up, girls. And then Reese Bradbury's not here tonight, so they ran together as a group. They were first overall in our state meet. Did an awesome job. I'd like to say that Cameron is a senior. She's our first one here. She is being recruited to run Division I next year. She's still trying to figure out where she's going to go. Tess Dickens is a sophomore, one of our sophomore runners. And then Allie McDonald in the back there, she's going to run at William & Mary next year. Really excited about them for their future for outdoor track and also to come after that. And then I also want to, we can take a picture of the 4x8 first, and then we'll do the 4x4 as well. Is that good? Cool. Cool. There we go. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So for the 4x4 relay, we're going to invite Penny Griggs to come up as well. Penny's a freshman for our team this year. Obviously, they were state champions in the girls 4x400 relay. They ran the second fastest time in Blacksburg school history for indoor track. So they did an awesome job. Again, really excited about what they can do this spring for outdoor and just see how that kind of goes with our 2 seniors and then a sophomore and a freshman. So really excited about that group. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Bragan, and student representatives. Thank you for this opportunity to highlight 2 of our student athletes from Christiansburg High School for their outstanding accomplishments this past winter season. At this time, I'd like to ask Brady Hand, one of our wrestlers, to please come forward as we talk about him a little bit. So Brady is currently a sophomore at Christiansburg High School, but during his 2 years so far at CHS, he has had some noteworthy accomplishments in his wrestling career. This past year specifically, he was the 3D region champion at 138 pounds, and that's the 2nd year in a row. He has a record of 34-5 overall for the 23-24 season, and his overall record with some additional matches outside of the school season, he is 71-8. He was the Region 3D champion. He was also the Big Blue Wrestling Tournament champion. He was named the most outstanding wrestler at the Big Blue Wrestling Tournament. He is ranked number 2 in all classifications in the state of Virginia. And remember, we have 6 classifications, and we are in the 3A classification. He is undefeated in the state of Virginia, and his only losses were at the Beast of the East and Powerade Wrestling tournaments. This past weekend, he wrestled in a 3-day tournament and finished 4th at the National High School Coaches Association Wrestling Tournament in Virginia Beach. And to cap it all off, he was the 3A state champion at 138 pounds for the 2nd year in a row. So congratulations, Brady. And now I would like to ask for Miss Summer Hamlin to come forward, please. She's one of our indoor track and field cross-country athletes at the high school. So Summer is currently a senior at Christiansburg High School with numerous all-region and all-state performances over the past 4 years. But this year, she was able to put the icing on the cake with a few additional accomplishments that include She finished third in the Region 3D meet in the 500-meter dash with a PR of 1 minute and 19 seconds. She followed that up by lowering her best to 1 minute 17.51 at the 3A state championships. And what's important to note there is she did that in the slow heat. So she ran, she won her heat, and she had to wait for the fast heat to run to see if her time, where it was going to place her. After the fast heat was run, she edged out the winner from Western Albemarle by 0.34 seconds to be named the 3A state champion in the 500-meter dash. So not only did she win the state title, but she also broke the school record with her time of 1:17.51 out of the slow heat, and that is held by former Virginia Tech athlete and MCPS graduate from Blacksburg High School, Michaela Richardson. So congratulations, Summer.
Great, thank you all. Outstanding accomplishments tonight. Next up, Mark Husband will begin our recognition of the Blacksburg High School DECA state champion.
Hello again. At this time, we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to recognize a state champion in the Virginia DECA competition. We anticipate this being the first of many such recognitions. DECA is a co-curricular organization that is paired with all marketing courses in Virginia. Students compete in a variety of skill and knowledge competitions, and the winners go on to the National DECA Conference. At this time, I would like to ask that Ella Prevet, her mother, and her marketing teacher, Miss Catlett, come forward. Ella is a marketing student at Blacksburg High School. She won the state competition Apparel and Accessories Marketing Series at the 2024 DECA State Conference in Virginia Beach. At this time, I would like to give Ms. Catley an opportunity to tell us more about Ella.
Hi. Ella's journey to this championship was super impressive. She's a natural born leader, literally the first sibling of 4 and the only girl. She's served in numerous leadership positions at Blacksburg High School, including within our DECA chapter. But what makes this championship so amazing is DECA competition has not come easily to her. She has, I wouldn't say struggled at all, but up until this point, her highest ranking, I guess, within the state was 9th place overall. So to finish out senior year with a first place finish is very stinking impressive, and it's been really, really cool to see all of that hard work that she's put into this pay off. So very, very proud of her and very excited to be here to celebrate her tonight.
All right. Next up, Mr. Adam Simpson will start our presentation for Seniors of the Month.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Bregan. A very special highlight of our board meeting is the recognition of an outstanding senior from each of our 4 high schools. Photos and leadership profiles will be displayed on the screen during this presentation and will also be displayed in the lobby of our central office. Our presentation format provides a snapshot of each senior along with a quote from the teacher or administrator who nominated them for this recognition. As you might expect, our Seniors of the Month are very busy folks with all their extracurricular activities they have going on. So tonight we are going to recognize 1 Senior of the Month from Blacksburg High School, and the others we hope to catch in our May meeting. So Ms. Woodsetzer from BHS will come up and present.
Good evening once again. I would like to ask Hayden Lynch and his family to come forward, please. Blacksburg High School is honored to have Hayden Lynch as our April Senior of the Month. Hayden is an exceptional and curious math student. He is a hard worker, but has a calm energy while learning that makes him an absolute pleasure to be around. He has an intuitive approach to mathematics, and an easygoing personality makes learning fun and enjoyable. Hayden participates in class, actively listens to others' perspectives and ideas, and uses feedback to correct any misconceptions. He asks deep and meaningful questions that further his understanding and the understanding of his classmates. He is exemplary in his study habits and actively seeks help when needed. Hayden earned a 5 on the AP Calculus AB test and continues to challenge himself academically by taking dual enrollment AP Calculus BC, AP Computer Science Principles, and AP Statistics his senior year. He is truly an exceptional and accomplished math student. Congratulations, Hayden.
All right, great. Next up, Dr. Amanda Widener will begin our recognition of MCPS Leaders of the Year. And Dr. Widener, if you'll give Dr. Bregan and I a minute, we'll come down.
Good evening, board members. It's a pleasure for me to be here tonight to present our annual MCPS Leader of the Year awards. Last year, we introduced this award to complement our other staff recognitions, including Teacher of the Year and Support Staff Employee of the Year. Our Leader of the Year award is an opportunity to recognize 2 outstanding leaders in our school division. We know that strong leaders can have a positive impact on both our students and our staff. All MCPS employees had the opportunity to nominate an outstanding leader in the school division for recognition. A committee of employees reviewed the candidates and selected 2 individuals as MCPS Leaders of the Year, one as an instructional leader and one as an operational leader. I will begin by recognizing our Instructional Leader of the Year. This year, it is an honor to announce Kim Regis as the MCPS Instructional Leader of the Year. Ms. Regis currently serves as the principal at Auburn Elementary School, a role she has been in since 2019. She has worked for Montgomery County for 15 years, during which time she has served as a principal, an assistant principal, and an elementary classroom teacher. Ms. Regis is appreciated by staff for her ability to build positive relationships with students, staff, parents, and the community. As a leader, she communicates effectively. She demonstrates a strong passion for her work. She engages in practices that empower teachers and staff to be their best in serving the needs and interests of all students. One staff member noted that though she has 110 million other things on her plate, if you ever have an issue that you need to bring to her attention, Ms. Regis drops everything and makes you feel like your problem is the most important thing in the world. She handles all situations with grace and treats everyone equally. It is also noted that anyone who walks into Auburn Elementary School knows right away that the school is focused on their students. There is so much positive energy and interaction among the students and staff, and Kim facilitates and models this positive vibe through her own actions. She excels in providing vision, direction, clear expectations that contribute to a productive, positive, engaging, and safe environment for all students and staff at Auburn Elementary School. At this time, I would like to ask Kim and any members of her family, including her Auburn family, I think there's a bunch of them here to support her, to step forward in recognizing her as the MCPS Instructional Leader of the Year.
The whole family was coming. Okay, now the whole team. Yeah, come on. Bring the team. You look our
Yeah, sure.
Gotta get tighter on this side.
Oh, thank you.
Our next recognition is for the Operational Leader of the Year. It's an honor to announce that Angie Bland is the recipient of this recognition. Ms. Bland serves as the supervisor of purchasing for the school division. She has worked for MCPS in this role for 20 years. Ms. Bland is appreciated for her ability to effectively manage the purchasing and warehouse departments and work collaboratively with other departments and schools across the school division. She is thoughtful and methodical in her actions and decisions. She communicates effectively. She welcomes input from her staff and other departments, and she always considers the impact of her decisions on all stakeholders. Ms. Bland's attention to detail and planning is evident in her successful management of the movement of schools during the construction and renovations of buildings, a task that requires great attention to detail, customer service, problem-solving, teamwork, and time management. One staff member observed that Angie is always so helpful and answers questions from anyone, whether at the schools or at the Ops Center. Angie always has a smile on her face and makes time for her employees, even when she is busy. She demonstrates a positive attitude, which creates a great work environment for her employees and everyone around her. She is a pleasure to work with. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Bland to step forward in recognizing her as the MCPS Operational Leader of the Year.
And we have operations team members. Do they want to come on up? Yeah. Michelle, come on. Come on. Come on. We have team members.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so good.
At this time, the board will take a 10-minute break.
All right, everyone, we'll get back after it here. Our next agenda item is public address. We welcome the opportunity to hear from students, parents, employees, and community members about education matters in this community. As a reminder, the board sets aside 30 minutes to start our public address. We have the option to extend in 30-minute increments, which Ms. Osborne will remind us of. If there are additional speakers after 90 minutes, the board will continue with their business meeting and hold one additional 30-minute session at the end of the business meeting. The clock continues through applause and disruptions. The more disruptions there are, the fewer speakers who get to address the board. I will call each speaker up by name in the order that they signed up. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The board does not respond to speakers during public address. The screen will show when the speaker has 30 seconds remaining and when time is up. Please state your name and the area of the county you live in. And the first speaker is Patrick Dacey. We have Patrick Dacey tonight. Patrick Dacey, yep. Okay. The next up is, apologies if I don't get this correct, Aaliyah Maria Abbas Samamra. Oh, so close. Followed by Natasha Croy.
Hello, thank you for having me today. My name is Alea. I'm a student at Virginia Tech, and I also run Kids Can Write. I remember writing stories in the 1st and 2nd grade. I used to print out pictures of Mickey Mouse characters, glue them on paper, and make my own plots. To me, I was already an author, and I know so many kids have done something similar, wishing their final work could have professional binding instead of paper clips and staples. One day when I was 9, I learned that self-publishing was not only possible, but free. So I self-published my own book with the help of my mom, and I tried to get my friends to do the same, but none of them ever finished their journeys. In the summer of 2022, I began Kids Can Write as a nonprofit, and the first Kids Can Write program ran at Gilbert Lincas Elementary with 30 Virginia Tech tutors and 15 children. Now we've had 9 successful programs consisting of over 200 tutors and over 100 children published as authors in the Blacksburg area. And these are some of the books that have been published. They're published on Amazon, and their pictures are in the back of them, and they each make their own revenue from the books they make. Now I'm excited to introduce an incredible opportunity for Montgomery County Public Schools to partner with Kids Can Write. Our nonprofit is dedicated to nurturing creativity and empowering young minds through innovative educational enrichment programs. By collaborating with MCPS, we can offer discounted summer camps and year-long enrichment programs focused either solely on writing or also on coding, game development, website building with AI, and music. These programs not only inspire children to explore their imagination and visualize what it would be like to create in different fields, but it also help them to become published authors and develop essential skills in literacy and STEM education. Envision the pride with which they represent their state. This is the transformative potential I aim to unlock. And I would like to begin this in all MCPS schools. I hope to transform their literacy scores into record high numbers, empower them, believe in them, and we can show them that kids can. I have some flyers with more information that I can just pass around. And that's all. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next up is Natasha Croy. Okay. How about Dave Sisson? And then next up is Brad Hill.
Hi, I'm Dave Sisson. I live in Elliston. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for members of the board and Dr. Bregan for allowing us the opportunity to share with you tonight. I grew up in that area, lived there, went to high school, played basketball, baseball, and football at the high school when it was Shawsville High School years ago, before your time for many of you, I guess. But I'm here tonight to speak about the I'm representing many other people I've spoken to about this issue, and that's to allow the community to use the auxiliary gym that was built years ago. In 1997, when they proposed the school, it was to be shared by the school and the residents of eastern Montgomery County, since there was no recreation center in that community. In the years since I've returned, very little bit of time has been given to the community. I tried back in 2018 when I spoke with Dr. Meyer, who was the superintendent then. The assistant said, we'll make it happen, but it never did. We did it for a little while. COVID came in and nothing's happened since then. Now, as you can, I have some sheets that I've handed out prior to you, a couple of sheets, and you can see here's a letter from Mary Duncanberger. She was the representative of the Eastern Montgomery area at that time, and you can see she said, we discussed when you contacted me by phone, my recollection of the planning process for the auxiliary gym at Eastern Montgomery involves significant discussion of the use of the gym by the community. See, we don't have down there what Christiansburg and Blacksburg have. We don't have that. So there's no place for kids to play, to sports for families when it's weather's bad. So she did say this, the auxiliary gym, due to the need for additional recreational resources of the eastern portion of the county, would be necessary. Also, there's a letter, I'm sorry for the quality of this, but this is some notes from the business meeting, I guess the meeting they had on October 21st, 1997, and you can see that it's circled here. Nelson Simpkins spoke of the community, athletic, and instructional considerations of the gymnasium at that time. Now, I spoke to Dr. Bregan just before the meeting, and he said he's spoken to the principal about having people to volunteer their time to help from the staff. What if that doesn't happen? I'm asking the school board to provide the funds if necessary, just on Sunday afternoons, just to provide that facility for people of the area, because we don't have the same opportunities. So it's not only for teenagers, but for children, families, seniors like myself should have a place to have indoor facilities. We're asking to provide an open gym on Sunday afternoons, excluding major holidays, just for the people of that community. The board is asked to provide the fund if necessary, which would be a very small amount compared to the large budget. Thank you so much.
Okay, next up is Brad Hill, followed by Shelley Maycock.
Good evening. My name is Brad Hill, and I live in the Reiner community. Tonight, I would like to address the information shared concerning the data that has been presented over the last couple of board meetings. First, I was quite surprised when no one noticed that the white subgroup was 6 to 9 times more likely to be given a suspension than any other subgroup. Not to mention the fact that out of all the suspensions given, 80% of them were given to those of the white subgroup. Seeing such a disparity, it surprises me that no one else noticed. However, that's the funny thing about data. People see what they want to see and can use it to provide evidence for one's agendas. I do agree that the data that night, or those 2 nights, seemed alarming in how it was presented. However, I would like to address what was not presented. I didn't see any information about the socioeconomic status of those represented. I didn't see any information about how many students involved were in foster care situation, a broken home, or a dysfunctional family. I didn't see any breakdown as to whether those involved got sleep the night before because they were on social media or couldn't sleep because the adults in their home were yelling all night. What I'm saying is there's much more to collecting data than just looking at a small sample. For example, how many of those represented were repeat offenders? How many got to school after getting in an argument with their boyfriend or girlfriend or someone at home? How many had just been evicted? How many didn't eat? How many had loved ones get seriously ill or die? And how many were assigned discipline by an administrator of their same race? How many were disciplined because of their interaction with a sub? How many didn't have an aide show up that day? How many were warned countless times before? If I recall, it was stated by the 2 gentlemen that the suspensions were considered a last resort to respect the safety and learning of others. Isn't part of the MCPS mission statement about providing a safe learning environment? I guess what I'm really trying to say is, How about instead of pointing fingers and blaming others for unfairly assigning suspensions, especially those approved to work in our schools, let's encourage those that received the suspensions to accept the consequences for their actions. When people blame others, they don't learn. They don't internalize and thus don't change. It was stated that things have been this way for 25 years. I don't want it to continue for another 25. In conclusion, one of my favorite pastors is a black pastor from Texas named Tony Evans. I remember a saying he had that I believe and adopt. He stated that we didn't have a choice in our skin color, our parents, our disabilities, the country in which we live, or the time period in which we were born. However, we do have a choice in the attitude we take and how we treat each other. I encourage all here to do the same in action, word, and deed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Next up is Shelley Maycock, followed by Chris Thomas.
Hello, I'm Shelley Maycock. I am a resident of Christiansburg, and I also teach English at Virginia Tech. School board members, Dr. Reagan, and Montgomery County citizens. I just want to say I'm just here to kind of express some ideas about the ELA textbook adoptions. I'm here to stand up for teachers of the various curricula coming up also for adoption this spring. I know you all have more pressing matters occupying your time, but there are some important considerations about this as well. It was nice to see the ELA curriculum packages on Amplify and Benchmark on display for public comment and the texts. And I'd like to thank Tricia Menzel, the ELA curriculum elementary curriculum administrator, for talking with Anna Bayajan and myself. We're hoping that some of the following questions can be answered before we adopt these textbooks. For example, the public really doesn't know how much time will be allowed for implementation. Will the teachers be allowed time and access to visit forums with teachers from other systems who have previously used these editions or similar materials before? How long before instruction begins will teachers have to access to live online curriculum? Last time for StudySync, it was only a few days. We studying this would like to know kind of what the implementation timeline might look like. Again, these are not really attacks on anyone. These are just things that we have figured out that need to be considered. What will be the balance between paper or hard copy books and online? How much of those are we able to buy? How much screen time is involved, because all of these things involve online portions? I noticed there were lots of support materials for teachers, such as phonics guides. Will they have both online versions and their own copies of this material? Will teachers have flexibility in choosing supplementary texts not included in the textbooks in accordance with MCPS Policy 6-5.5, as reiterated in the petition that many of us brought to the board in 2022 for StudySync? How much do we follow the Virginia Literacy Act, the new law, and at the same time stand up for the autonomy and professionalism of our own teachers? Will the MCPS curriculum administrators also provide the public with academic research independent of the publisher's influence, supporting the adoption of these materials and methods that guided their choices?
Thank you, Ms. Maycock. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Got it right on the money.
Nice, good job. Last up is Chris Thomas.
Chris Thomas, Christiansburg. Members of the board, I know it will come as a shock to many of you that I am a giant nerd. I know. You're not allowed to respond to public comment, but I can read your objections in your faces. Oh no, it can't be you, Chris. You're so cool and hip and obviously down with the latest trends and fashions. And that means a lot coming from all of you, but I must protest. You see, back in the day, I was quite the video game fan. I'm pointing that out because given my advanced age and undeniable swagger, a person could be excused for imagining that I might be one of those people with an anti-technology axe to grind, but far from it. In fact, there's a fictional totalitarian government waiting at home for me to topple it with an improbable number of exotic firearms. So I have more than a passing interest in this esports arena proposal that's on the agenda, and I want to make sure the board thinks through the implications of this investment before committing some of our already scarce capital to the project. And to that end, I have a number of questions I'd like to ask. Now, you should all have a copy of these in your email from about a month ago, but I'd like to re-ask them in this forum as well. Will all MCPS students have access to this arena, or only those at Auburn High School? And if not, do we have a plan for providing a similar facility at the other high schools? How many players and spectators will this arena be able to accommodate? What gaming equipment is involved in it? Are we talking about PCs, Xbox, PlayStation? What recurring costs will that equipment obligate us to? Will participants in the arena play with other schools exclusively, or will they engage in internet play more broadly? If we allow general access to online gaming communities, what measures will there be to protect our students from bad actors online? What game titles will the arena support? Do these games include first-person shooters, graphic depictions of violence, sex acts? Will avatars in these games be expected to comport with the school dress code? What cybersecurity concerns will the program present to our school system, and what measures will be taken to support them? Does an esports team involve a coach? Do we have money for a stipend for one, for four? Does the budget account for electrical upgrades? A 10-person team playing on high-end gaming PCs will draw 8,500 watts or more. Will Auburn's electrical system support that? How will obsolescence be handled? Gaming consoles become obsolete every 5 to 8 years, PCs often in fewer than 3. I raise these questions because we are already in a very contentious media environment, and not a month goes by that which my friends on the right don't insist that we remove books from our school libraries for the depictions of violence, sexuality, or profanity. Have you seen the state of online gaming? I'm going to run down a selection of the top 10 or so esports hits so you have a sense of the political minefield you're about to wander into. Counter-Strike is the most popular PC console-based esports game, and in it players can play as terrorists who are trying to set off a bomb to kill civilians. Valorant features a non-binary character who uses they/them pronouns. League of Legends and DOTA each offer a demonic seductress character. In Call of Duty, you can play as a black female Nazi. I don't have a problem with esports, but this is not a turnkey project. We need to answer a lot of questions before we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. And with that, public address is closed. Next, we'll move on to our consent items. If no one wishes to move an item out of consent, we will consider these items approved. Okay, great. Do I have a motion to approve the payment of bills as presented?
So moved.
A motion by Dr. Guitry and a second by Ms. Franklin. Any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton? Yes. Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. All right. And next up, we're into our business meeting. We'll start with a report from the superintendent.
Thank you, Board Chair Hudson. I only got a few things. One is that our board retreat, I guess it was about a month ago, it seems to go by pretty quickly, but there were a few items that were presented and some things that I was given the charge to work on, so I want to give a brief update. One was to put together a capital plan regarding the elementary schools in Blacksburg that need to be renovated: Harding Avenue Elementary School, Margaret Beeks Elementary School, Gilbert Lincoln Elementary School, in addition to Shawsville Middle School, and Montgomery Central, some of the oldest buildings we have in the division. Where we are right now is I met with all the principals, and we talked about a couple things and ideas that they may have had, but I gave them the charge to go back and review that information with their staffs, to get information for the older students, for the older grade levels from some of the students, and with also the community, and what would be their expectations for renovations, and what would they look for in schools to bring them up to modernity in the 21st century, and what that would entail for them. So we're getting that information, and once we get all that, we'll get together with some of the people that put these together, our own facilities people and the architects, to get a rough idea on what those types of revisions would cost. And then I'll plan to bring that back to the school board for discussion, not for any idea we're moving forward or anything, but here's what we talked about, here's what our thoughts are, here's what we got from our school communities on what they think they would need to help their children become all they're capable of becoming. So I just wanted to let you know we're working on that. And when we get that, I'll bring that out to a school board meeting, give you all a little advance notice so we could talk about it, have that discussion in public. There was another charge I was given regarding the cell phone policy, and right now it's contained within our code of conduct, and it restricts the use of cell phones during schools. Probably hasn't been uniformly implemented throughout the division, which created some issues with students, with teachers, sometimes with parents across all the schools in the county. We're working on that, and in the same vein, we asked our administrators to talk to the teachers, talk to people in their building, get information from students. How best can we do this? How best can we create an environment where the children are able to thrive and learn without all those distractions that we sometimes deal with? So we're getting that information too, rather than put together some type of edict from the mount on this is what we think y'all should do. Let's get it from the people that are working directly in the classrooms, from our teachers, our paraprofessionals, our administrators, and from the students as well. So we're getting that information as well as we put this together. And as you all are aware, that Christiansburg Middle School did a kind of a pilot starting on March 1st on restricting some of the access for their students. And their principal, Mr. Knott, is going to present to us at our next board meeting. I think you'll find the information interesting on what he's found so far. So that kind of gives us a little bit of a glimpse into the future on what we could expect maybe division-wide. So I look forward to that at our next meeting. And last up is just to report that April is School Library Month. And I think that's one of the things that we take for granted in Montgomery County. One, we have the dedicated professionals assigned to each of the libraries in our building. The spaces are phenomenal for learning, and I know our teachers and our administrators use those spaces for a variety of purposes, and the personnel themselves that are in there, they're exceptional, and they do everything from triaging problems with our Chromebooks to helping kids learn and helping kids do research and evaluating what effective research is and how they should do that and decipher what is accurate, what isn't, and all that. They are to be commended for what they do, and I think the county is to be commended for its dedication for those library spaces, and I'm proud to be the superintendent of a place where we have such a commitment to that. I think that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you. Next up, Dr. Bregan will present a resolution for Montgomery County Public Schools concerning secure storage of firearms.
Chair Hudson, would it be okay if I read the entire thing? Because I think it's important. You know, we had some discourse about this and some discussions, and we looked at some other examples across the state on some other school divisions that put together a resolution. And we thought this was pretty appropriate for us to do at this point. So I'm going to read through it, and we ask that the school board vote on this evening and discuss it and do whatever we normally would do. But basically, it reads as such. Montgomery County Public School Board resolution concerning secure storage of firearms. Whereas an estimated 4.6 million American children live in households with at least one loaded, unlocked firearm. And whereas every year, roughly 350 children under the age of 18 unintentionally shoot themselves or someone else. That's nearly one unintentional shooting per day, and 70% of these incidents take place inside a home. And whereas another 1,200 students and teens die by gun suicide each year, most often using guns belonging to a family member. And whereas in incidents of gun violence on school grounds, 75% of active shooters were current students or recent graduates. And whereas evidence strongly suggests that secure firearm storage is an essential component to any effective strategy to keep schools and students safe. And whereas research shows that secure firearm storage practices are associated with up to an 85% reduction in the risk of self-inflicted and unintentional firearm injuries among children and teens. And whereas the United States Secret Service National Threat Assessment Center emphasizes the importance of appropriate storage of firearms because 76% of school shooters use firearms acquired from the homes of parents or close relatives. And whereas across the country, lawmakers, community members, and local leaders are working together to implement public awareness campaigns such as the Be Smart program that is being introduced into the Montgomery County Public Schools this month, which is endorsed by the National PTA and which encourages secure gun storage practices and highlights the public safety risk of unsecured guns. And whereas school districts across the country have begun proactively to send materials home to parents and guardians, informing them of applicable firearm storage laws and firearms secure storage best practices. And whereas keeping students, teachers, and staff safe from gun accidents and gun violence should be the responsibility of all stakeholders at each of our school sites. And whereas Virginia law requires adults to securely store their firearms to prevent a child from having unauthorized access to a firearm. And whereas in order to continue with preventative measures to increase student and school safety, we must act now. Now therefore be it resolved that the Montgomery County School Board directs the superintendent to take such actions as are necessary to increase awareness among MCPS students, families, and staff about the importance of secure gun storage, the legal requirements of parent and guardians to securely store their firearms, and the best practice of keeping all guns unloaded, locked up, and stored separately from ammunition. Be it further resolved that the Montgomery County School Board directs the superintendent to create an appropriate letter in English and other language spoken by students of MCPS to parents and guardians that explains the importance of secure gun storage and preventing minors from accessing guns, the legal requirements of parents and guardians to securely store their firearms, and the best practice of keeping all guns unloaded, locked up, and stored separately from ammunition, which letter shall be included in annual registration materials at each school site. Finally, be it resolved on the 9th day of April 2024 that the Montgomery County School Board and the superintendent will continue to work with local law enforcement agencies, health agencies, and nonprofits to collaborate and increase efforts to inform MCPS families of their obligations regarding secure storage of firearms in their homes.
Great, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution concerning secure storage of firearms?
So approved.
Second.
A motion by Dr. Guitry and a second by Ms. Parton. Board, any discussion?
I have a question about materials. So is this saying we're just going to be doing a letter, or are we going to be providing more information? Because as we talked about this before, my suggestion was that we put this all over the buildings, age appropriate, of course, to help our students and staff and our parents and community coming into the buildings understand this is a serious issue, and we want you to be aware of what's going on, not only in your home, but the home of other children.
That's a great question, Ms. Franklin. The idea is this is a community-wide endeavor. We've already met with the local law enforcement, from the sheriff's office to the two town police departments, as well as the Greater Montgomery County Liaison Group. And everyone is committed to doing all we can to get this information out there. Everyone that I've spoke to, all the committees and meetings I've been a part of. So it would be much greater than just sending the letter and putting that information out. That would be a starting point, but it would be to put this information on our website and adopt all those practices and share that information, as you said, on posters and information as much as we can. And, try to train parents too, when your child's going over to somebody else's home, like you would ask, any other security questions. You have firearms in the house, are they stored safely and securely? Because your child may not be comfortable in a home that has guns, and going somewhere that they do, where their children are well trained and may not know how to properly handle them. So it's really important. So the idea is to get that information out in as many places as we can: social media, our website, across every domain.
Thank you.
Board, any other questions or comments?
So just to echo with what Ms. Franklin spoke about, it would be great to get a presentation after you put together a plan that incorporates the letter, but other activities are going to take place. And I had we had a really good conversation, Ms. Purcell and I, with the mayor of the town of Blacksburg, and it was really encouraging. But I also want to thank you, Superintendent Bragan, for the alacrity with which you responded to the request and after the presentation. I think this is so important for our community, so I'm glad to see that we're not waiting. But I see this as a first step, and I'm sure that others on the board would agree that it's an important first step, but only a first step.
Ms. Parton, any comments?
So, yeah, I just want to reiterate that this is a law by the state of Virginia. So this has been intact for a while. So if you do not do this or abide by this, there can be legal consequences. So just want to make sure that I reiterate that statement. It is a law of Virginia to keep firearms secure.
Absolutely. Ms. Vaughn? Ms. Purcell?
To echo some of what others have said, just thank you so much, Dr. Bragan, for working on this over the last few weeks, and for all the outreach that I know others have done with leadership across the county, and for just taking this important first step. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. President. This was easy because it had universal support.
Right. Dr. Roundtree?
Yeah, just reiterating, thank you all for bringing this up, and I'm glad that we're finally going to have some advertisement about safe gun storage and keeping guns out of kids' hands. Thank you.
Awesome. I'll just add, I've been a part of a lot of conversations lately with different groups, kind of working through mutual topics of interest like this. Hopefully we'll see a lot more efforts kind of come to help our students and community, but I'm definitely proud that this is one of the first ones that we were able to get across the finish line, so that's great.
I was going to ask, you mentioned the town of Blacksburg, and I know at the liaison meeting, there were Christiansburg Town Council members there, so I assumed that they came on, or you had that discussion with them as well, or do you need
Yeah,
us
absolutely.
to
We-
reach out or go to a town,
No, at the Greater Montgomery County Liaison Committee, we have representatives from Virginia Tech, from Blacksburg, Christiansburg, Radford.
I saw that they
I'm
were
probably
in
missing somebody else
attendance.
out. Everybody was on board and supportive of it, whatever we would need, and the local police departments from each of those communities as well.
okay, well, if we need to reach out again or with any information,
Okay.
we can do that.
Will do.
Along those lines, there was some conversation with the mayor about whether we would bring this to the different bodies and have them sign on to the resolution after we passed it. If we pass it this evening, would that be the next step, or will that happen?
It seems like you have more information about the town councils, but I will reach out to them, their leadership, and ask them if they do that. I mean, I can't speak for what they would do, but they did express universal support. So if we adopt this tonight, and I'll share that information with both representatives that I have contacts with on the town councils, for them to do the same. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the Board
To
of
have them sign-
Supervisors might
Yeah,
be open
but
to.
to do their own resolutions also. Yeah, so it shows everybody's got their own resolution supporting this effort.
That's a great point. And thanks, Mr. Purcell. I forgot the Board of Supervisors are a big part of that Greater Montgomery County Liaison Group as well.
Yeah. Board, any other comments?
Yeah, so to Dr. Guitry's point, once there is a letter that's going to go out, having all of the leaders across the county signing that letter, showing that there is lots of support for this, not that it's just the school board putting it forth, but that it's all of the police force, the sheriff, the board of supervisors, so forth, getting everybody's signature on there, just to reemphasize that it's important to across the county would be a good thing. Oh, no, I think it was the resolution that was being requested, but during the discussions, I was coming up with that it'd be good to have the letter signed by all those people.
Great. Okay, great. Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. All right, great. Next up, Ron Gomez, the Director of Business Development for Sodexo Schools, will give a presentation on food services.
Good evening, Dr. Bragan, distinguished members of the board. I have the honor to speak with you here today about some of the exciting things that we've put together as a company if we're selected to be the child nutrition provider for Montgomery County Schools. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of the information that we put together in our submission. But before I do, wanted to share with you a little bit about Sodexo because we're one of the largest companies that most people have never heard of. So we have roughly $25 billion in revenues globally. We have 470,000 employees, and we've been feeding students for over 55 years. Now, here in Virginia specifically, we feed more students than any other company. We have one of the largest footprints for any food service management company. We feed not only military bases, but hospitals and universities as well. So a little bit about what we put together for the students of Montgomery County Schools. So there's typically two things that people think about when they think about food and where they're going to dine. First and foremost, it's going to be the food. The taste has to be appealing. When you take a look at each one of the pictures that's on these slides, this is not drawn up material. This is actually what we feed to students as part of our menus. So we offer at the elementary level 4 different choices daily, and we're trying to appeal to different taste profiles for the students. So the other thing that comes along when you're doing a dining program is the ambiance. Is it inviting? Is it the setting that you want to go into? So many schools will have a very stale and sterile approach to it, where you have stainless steel. You have a got milk poster on one area, and not really too appealing. And when you think about the elementary grade levels, what do they typically look at? Nickelodeon, Disney, fun, vibrant colors. So when you take a look at how we market our individual cafeterias, we want to make it as inviting as what they're accustomed to. So when you take a look at the middle, that's our branding, the clubhouse, and we did a lot of market research that went into that to make sure that we are doing something that appeals to the individual student. And we found by doing this, we see an increase in student participation of roughly 10%. So more kids eating will make sure that they also have the correlating benefits of having better grades. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. We also do things beyond the food. So once a year, we have an annual competition at the elementary level. So 4th and 5th graders will have this competition that we title Future Chefs. And in the Future Chefs competition during the spring, we'll have an individual theme. So it may be breakfast or it may be a healthy snack. And kids get together with their parents, they design a recipe. And then we host a local competition where we'll have key stakeholders, principals, board members, anybody that wants to participate. And they get a chance to partake in this competition and score and grade the meals that they taste. And we want to make sure that we do it in a fun and inviting manner. So we have a cafeteria employee that mentors that employee or that student, and they make sure that they're preparing it safely, the presentation that goes along with it. And while all the kids are winners at the end of the day, we do have a grand prize winner. And that grand prize winner, their recipe advances, not the individual student, to a regional competition. And we recreate that recipe, and then people vote on it. Finally, that regional competition turns into a national competition where now everybody nationally is able to vote on it. And once that competition is done, that student wins a scholarship and a couple of different things to make sure that they get the proper recognition. And there have been occasions where the recipe meets the USDA guidelines and we introduce it into our national menus. So just fun and exciting things that we want to do to extend beyond the cafeteria. At the middle school, what our research shows is that students at this age want even more choices and variety, and they're also more into made-to-order items. So we offer 6 to 8 different entree choices daily. You see the marketing and the branding that appeals to this grade level. And we also want to make sure that we're informing students on what goes into their body and also having them involved into what we're going to put on the menu. So for example, we'll have some technology that we call My D-Text. So students have an opportunity to text different things for feedback that we're receiving. So a few months ago, we wanted to have the students decide what dipping sauces they were going to have for the French fries the following week. So we had 4 different choices on there. We had ranch, hot sauce, barbecue sauce, spicy ketchup. But this, we were able to see real time what information the students were giving us. And when the students actually see new things on the menu, they know that it's based off of their feedback, and that's what means something to them. And also with the made to order, you see on the right, we have a baked potato bar. We want to make sure that we're appealing to what they would like. So this is, again, something from our actual serving lines, and this is something that really engages students. And again, when we take a look at this, our whole focus is on student participation. You hire us, we have a scorecard. We're looking at student participation increases. So when we give you quarterly reports or annual reports, we're going to share with you how we've increased that student participation. And at the high school level, we have what we call Taste 4. So Taste 4 is set up more of a food court style setting. And at this stage, our market research has shown that this generation of high school students, 30 to 40% of them get menu fatigue. So what is menu fatigue? This is when you don't have a lot of variety after the second or third iteration of Taco Tuesdays. Students would rather not eat than eat the same thing over and over again. So in order to combat that, we have 10 to 15 entree choices daily. And in addition to that, we want to make sure that we don't just have the same 10 to 15 different entree choices daily. So with us being a very large company, we borrowed a concept from our universities. And what we do in universities, we have pop-up restaurants. So a pop-up restaurant is, think of one individual serving line that's dedicated to a particular a different theme. So the first one that you see on the top is Beale Street Barbecue. So this week, if we were to have Beale Street Barbecue, a student would go through the line and they would decide the protein that they want, whether it's pulled pork or grilled chicken, and then they decide whether they want it on tater tots, nachos, or a burger. Then they choose different sauces to customize it, and we have the things that go along with it, such as baked beans, just to go along with the theme with the Beale Street Barbecue. So as popular as that is, the following week it's going to be something completely different. So it may be what we call our street taqueria, and as the name implies, a street taco theme. So different types of meats and the street tacos that you could go ahead and customize again on your own. So what we found with that is, again, it increases student participation significantly, 10 to 15%. But so by doing this as a high school student, you could go the entire school year without repeating the same main entree twice. And we are also looking to get feedback at this point. So I noticed that right now you have a student representative. So we feel that that's important as well. We have a student influencer program that we've incorporated. So a student influencer program, we may partner with a school, and if they have a marketing department, we'll hire one of those employees as an intern. And we want to have them do different things to give us what connects with that individual high school. So sometimes there's language that we want to use as we're promoting some of the menus that we're going to do. We want to be able to get feedback in terms of what's being received, what's not being received, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're tailoring it and we're customizing the menus in order to make sure that we appeal to as many students as possible. So that's a little bit about what we're going to do at each individual campus level. But I did want to share with you one last thing as well, because what we're seeing in many areas is that there is a significant vacancy rate in the food service departments. And again, one of the things that we're fortunate to have as a large company is that we've made significant investments to address this. So we have a program that we purchased that is called DEXI, and it's actually artificial intelligence. So we've seen a significant reduction in our vacancies and an increase in our fill vacancy rates, the time that it takes to fill those vacancies. So what does DEXI do in a nutshell? If we have vacancies right here in Montgomery County Public Schools, the hiring manager will go ahead and post them. And in order to make sure that we make the most out of the hiring manager's time, it weeds out people that may not necessarily be in the geographic area. It goes ahead and schedules prospective interviews with a potentially successful candidate, so that when the manager comes in, they have interviews that are already scheduled. Then after that, once it actually has those meetings that are going to happen, those interviews, then it helps with the onboarding. So a lot of the stuff that used to be manual for our managers, we have a philosophy. We want our managers to be out there in the field with students and leading the frontline staff. So having a tool like this, one of the many tools that we have, we could go on for a long time because we have a lot of stuff, but I was wanting to address some of the major things that we have that I believe will greatly benefit the overall look and feel and the taste for students at Montgomery County Public Schools. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm sure there's probably at least a couple of questions.
Well, let's go around with some questions. If anyone has them, who wants to start?
I'll start. Okay, and you may not be able to answer these questions right now within the process, but for me, it is understanding how you treat your employees, your pay scale, benefits, how Montgomery County employees and your employees will work together to make sure our children have the best experience they can have.
Now, absolutely, and you're right. I'll hit on it, but there are obviously a lot of nuances that I would want to make sure that we know. But I could tell you just very basically, we have a very strong recognition program. So actually, we're one of only 7 companies to be inducted into Diversity Inc.'s Hall of Fame. So this thing has been around for a long time. So we're known for what we do for employees. And as far as how we work, we have a philosophy that whether they're Montgomery County employees or our employees, they're part of the Sodexo family and the Montgomery County family. So we're trying to make sure that we invest in them. So I think what you'll experience, just to directly point on 2 things, is we'll offer them a lot of training that they probably have not had the exposure with, because we're trying to make it as easy as possible. So not just right here, I mentioned that we service a lot of different areas. So what we've learned is in order to make sure that we are able to train employees as aptly as possible, we have to do it through many different mechanisms. We have videos available. We have hands-on training approaches. So people learn in different ways. So we have learned that, and that's one of the things that we take in terms of developing and enhancing the employee skill set. The second thing is employees of Sodexo, when they're full-time, some companies only offer benefits for the individual employee. We offer benefits for the entire family, and they're affordable as well. Another thing that happens is some companies, especially smaller companies that offer benefits, they may offer benefits, but they may be cost prohibitive for any hourly employee to actually be able to take advantage of them. Our benefits are affordable regardless of the family size that you have. Thank you for the question, Ms. Franklin.
Okay, we'll go around. Dr. Roundtree, any questions?
Yeah, so what is the nutritional factors? How much for like grade schools, is there a lot of sugar in the breakfast items, or are they more yogurts and protein packed breakfast items?
We try to offer a wide variety. Now, one of the things that I'll be honest with you, all companies are going to have the same guidelines. What we try to do is make sure that we're appealing to students by offering better taste profile. And what's that better taste profile if we all have the same guidelines, right? So we have a small army of chefs and dietitians that put together and sample a lot of these different recipes, and we incorporate our marketing team to make sure that we're testing it out with students, and we have the right combination of foods, and we do more scratch cooking than a lot of other companies. Now, on the surface, you would think that having these scratch recipes are going to be very labor intensive, but we try to make sure that it's simple and repetitive what we do with those recipes to make sure that they're replicatable by all cafeterias. So that's the approach that we take, Dr. Roundtree.
And then following up on Ms. Franklin's comments and questions, do you happen to know the minimum wage, and do you set the minimum wage associated with your employees to the same value as MCPS, or?
We do. So we always do a market wage analysis, and that's what we use to build each individual account that we're going to staff. And right here we had the hourly wages for the employees, so we always try to make sure that we basing it off of that, and then we also make recommendations in terms of salary increases in terms of what's going to happen, because we're trying to make sure that when it's a blended family, so to speak, that we're trying to keep in line with what's going on with Montgomery County employees of the district and Sodexo employees, so that it's equitable and there's not disdain from one employee base versus the other. So that's a nuance that comes along with this.
Thank you.
Ms. Purcell?
Sure. So we were fortunate enough for others listening just to provide some context to be able to sample some of Sodexo's food earlier tonight, and you offered some gluten-free options. And I just had a question about, people with something like celiac disease, real gluten sensitivities, it's really, really important, like, to not have cross-contamination in order for them to eat that food. So what are your processes for making sure that kids with severe allergies don't get exposed to their
Absolutely. So
allergens?
Absolutely, Ms. Purcell. So we do have a lot of best practices that go along with that, but also we want to make sure that it's as easy as possible for parents to communicate and be informed on what we're doing. So we have software and apps where they could go ahead and identify what's on the menu, build a menu plan, but also within the dining area, we're actually preparing the food. Then we'll train the employees in order to make sure that we're being able to separate and accommodate any particular diets. And if there is a severe allergy in any particular case, we're trying to make sure that we take any additional precautions that come along that go with that as well.
Ms. Bond?
We get it on. Well, mine are more comments than there are questions, but thank you so much for our dinner this evening. It was delicious, all of it.
Glad to hear that.
And, one of my concerns years ago before we started doing outreaches for food being brought in, we might have provided better food, but kids weren't eating it. They were just leaving and going and getting fast food. So even if they don't always make the best choices, they're better than what they could be. And so I appreciate the fact that it looks good and tastes good because it's important. I had my children come through during those times and they didn't want to eat at all. So, and then like I said, they wanted to make worse choices when they got out of school. So I appreciate the fact that it looks good and tastes good because it's important. And for some, that could be the only meal they're eating. And if that's the case, it needs to taste good. And, we know that nutritionally speaking, sometimes you don't reach for something else if you're a little bit more fulfilled. So I'm a believer in that. And thank you so much it looks great, tasted great.
Thank you, Ms. Bond. And if we're fortunate enough to be awarded the contract, I'll follow up with you to see if your students are eating after we implement the changes.
Ms. Pardon?
So I'm going to echo Ms. Bond a little bit. Thank you for dinner. It was absolutely delicious, everything. I love all the different choices. I love the healthy, fresh. I like the fresh stuff, the fresh fruit, the fresh vegetables, all of that. I think that means so much. If it looks good, they're going to at least try it, and it's going to taste good too. So thank you for that. So I kind of have two questions. I'm going to try to tie them together for you. So the first one is, I know in history, and probably a little bit now too, we've seen a significant food waste where kids get a lot of food and then I see a lot of it going in the trash can. So I didn't know if you had any kind of loss prevention for food waste going on with your company, and to kind of tie that in as well, a key aspect would also be food safety. So I didn't know if you had some kind of training that you all provided or certification that tied in with that as well.
We do. We actually have one of the highest sustainability ratings because of all the different things that we do. So we have Waste Watch 2025, where we're focused on reducing waste by over 50%. And we're making great progress with that. And again, we get some awards for the work that we do with that. And yeah, I would echo the earlier comment as far as the training. We've developed so many different trainings because not just like with Waste Watch, but we're part of as a global company, we take part in the Paris Accord, so we have a lot of things that are probably a lot more advanced in terms of our compliance with sustainability versus a company that only has a footprint here in the United States. So with that, we have training, video trainings that are available in order to make sure that if you're not educated on these things, that we're able to make sure that we get you up to speed, and we're doing what we need to do in order to make sure that we maintain our membership into these organizations.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Guthrie.
Great. Yes, thank you so much for the variety of food that you had in your presentation, and thanks to the rest of the team. So I know that in the food service industry, profit margins are razor thin. And so I want to return to the one question that Ms. Franklin asked. So I realize that you create, as you said, parity with, you would with MCPS if you were to get the contract. In the state of Virginia, what is the minimum wage for an employee at your company? Because I know you're a global company, and I have a couple of questions. And if you don't have the information now, that's fine. I could get it later.
I
but I'm
don't have it
curious.
handy, but I could get it for you here shortly.
Okay. And the other question I have goes along with that is just, I know that there is a lot of turnover, and I'm curious to know, like over the last 3 to 5 years, what is the turnover rate in the company, and how well do you do at retaining within the company? That's another data point that you probably don't have at your disposal right now, but I'd love to.
No, and you know what? I don't have it handy, and I think the last few years are probably a little skewed because when we had COVID that went on, we had a lot of people that were leaving the workforce and then coming back to testing their toes in the water. And based off of that, that's where we decided to make the investment into this artificial intelligence to make sure that we were getting more qualified employees in there, because we didn't want to just get a body. You had the after effects of COVID where people would come in, work a day or two, and they would leave. They weren't really serious about the job. So this technology has actually helped us really reduce those vacancy rates. There was a partnership that we started last year, and we had 90 vacancies when we started out of roughly 250 employees. Using some of these tools like DEXI and some of the training techniques, we've got to 100% staff before we opened, and the district was a little astonished that we were able to do that, but those are some of the things that we were able to implement in order to do that. And as far as the turnover rates, in the food service industry, there's two sectors that have the highest turnover rates. It's healthcare and food service. So we do better than what the industry average is for food service.
Okay, I'd love to get that data. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Student reps, any questions?
I guess I'll go first. So I think I have maybe 2 questions. So the first one is a very quick question. How exactly are you getting the opinions from students? Are you doing surveys? Are you going to schools?
Several different ways, but a few ones are we do have a student survey that we do regularly in order to get their feedback. We also have different things, like I mentioned, the tool with My D-Text. So that's real-time information that we're able to get when we want to test something out. Because we're always trying to present new things on the menu, and it's one thing where you present something new on the menu, and it's like, oh, they didn't like it. So that goes back to your question about waste. So we're trying to reduce that waste and getting that real-time feedback and what you would like to see. That helps us get that input. And then the last thing is very similar to the role that you all have here with the board. We have a student influencer that's out there interning with us and getting the feedback in terms of what is that we should be looking at in terms of introducing different things that are innovative, fun, and exciting for the students.
Okay. And for my second question, are you, in the future, are you planning to add, I guess, what's the word? Introduce more cultural foods so that people can, kids could get more variety. Like you are doing variety, but even more variety, and I guess just show an appreciation for other cultures too, because I know a lot of students, they're from different ethnicities and they would like to see their foods out. So.
Great question, by the way. So yes, we do have a lot of that. So a lot of the things that we have on our rotating menus actually have an influence with different ethnicities. And also with the student influencer program, we had a lot of people from different areas that were asking for a low country menu, for example. So we have one of our rotating pop-up restaurants is low country food. But we also have monthly promotions that we developed. And we'll do different things like for Hispanic Heritage Month and all these different things that come along with that. We have things that we introduce in our menus in order to make sure that we're making it exciting for the students and identifying all the different diverse cultural ethnicities that are present in our schools.
Perfect. Also, I just want to say thank you. I know a lot of students now are getting very tired of the food that we have, and they want more variety, and I'm sure they would be excited to know that you're trying to do different things. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hi, my name is Jomana.
Hey, Jomana.
But at my school, we have pizza every single day. So this is wow. But I have a couple questions. So you talked about different proteins such as meat and chicken and stuff like that. But how do you make sure that there's a variety for vegans, vegetarians, pescatarians, and making sure that it meets everyone's needs and not just the people that eat meat?
Yeah, we do have a lot of vegetarian options. So we have regular stuff that we have on the salad bars. And even at the elementary level, we always have salads that are available for students that participate in that. So I mentioned that trying to appeal to all the different types of students, even at the elementary level. So there may not be a lot of kids that take a salad, but we know that there may be 5, 10, sometimes 15 that want to take a salad. So we're trying to make sure that we feed as many kids as possible because as Ms. Martin mentioned, that sometimes this is the only meal that students receive. So we're trying to make sure that we are able to get them something that they're going to eat and enjoy. And look, I mentioned that 30 to 40% of kids that get menu fatigue, but 60 to 70% love the pizzas and different things like that every day. So we're trying to make sure that we have the things that are on the menu so that we could address all those different preferences that are out there for the students.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question.
I'm gonna have a couple questions myself before we go back around. Guess first off, one of the things I hear a lot from our students is just, the amount of time it takes to kind of get through the cafeteria line, right? I've got 2 kids. Neither of them really ate much cafeteria because it was just lunchtime is so compressed, right? So I know you brought some of these tonight, if you don't mind me waving this one. So some cool like grab and go kind of stuff. This was great, by the way. I'd love to know more about kind of options that you guys have. I'm looking at some of the stuff you had, like a potato bar and a salad bar that I see here. That looks great, but from a time standpoint, how do you move kids through the line fast enough so they have time to eat?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So what we're trying to do, if you take a look at the high school, for example, we have a deli line where that's going to be very similar to a Subway. So that if the throughput on that takes a little bit longer than some of the other lines. So again, going back to the psychology of feeding a number of students at the same time, we try to balance out stuff that's very quick with grab and go, stuff that's a little bit faster with serve, where you're getting just a few options. So for example, a lasagna that you go through the line, but it goes a lot quicker versus the customized options. So blended, that's how we're able to make sure that we address a full student body, especially like at the high schools where you have a lot of people that are coming through at one particular time. So a blended approach. And in some cases, we may end up making a recommendation that we have to add an additional point of service. And it may be something quick. So you may have a traditional 4 serving lines, but there may be a mobile grab and go station. So there's a lot of analytics that we use as a company. So we have what we call opportunity assessment. So what we've done with this data is we use it to the benefit of the students. So there was a cafeteria that was very similar in size versus another one with the students that were in it. One was feeding a lot less students as the other one. So we went in and we did an analysis and we identified that where the kids were being dropped off in one school was very convenient for them to grab something to eat. The other one, it wasn't. So we go in, we use some of our tools and say, hey, let's move this particular point of service over here where kids could get grab and go, and the kids that have additional time could go to this other area. Again, this is one of the benefits with being a large company where we're trying to make sure that we use all the tools at our disposal in order to make sure that we're addressing the needs of the district and the students.
Okay, great. That's awesome. Thank you. And the second question, you're looking at some of the stuff you mentioned about like kind of decorating the cafeteria area so that they may be more attractive to students to kind of come through there. I'm looking at the slide that has like the high school line, and it kind of almost looks like something from Disneyland, right? Where you're kind of getting there and you got all your sauces and all your stuff, right?
Yeah.
How do you work with schools in terms of kind of the structure of their cafeteria, though, in order to kind of make something like that work?
We realize that we're guests at each principal's house, so we work individually. We have a very structured transition plan where we're trying to make it as seamless as possible. So when students leave the last day of school versus the first day of school, that they notice a difference right away when they come in. And during that process, we meet with the individual principals, and there may be multi-purposes that they use for the cafeteria. So those principals may be a little bit more restrictive in terms of, yeah, you know what, we don't want all that. This is what we want. Others will be like, yeah, you know what, if it's going to make it more appealing, then let's go all out with that particular area. So we have our marketing team that comes in and they help out. We have subject matter experts in each individual area that help make our program a great success. So those marketing people are meeting with the principals and making sure that we address the needs, and we customize it to a way that gives that individual high school its identity.
Okay, great. That's awesome. Board will open it up. Any other questions?
So I've got one. So it sounds like you all are going to amaze us with your hiring, and I want to be amazed, okay? But in case we're not, how are you going to be able to fill in when one school may not have enough staff to be able to offer all the opportunities that other schools have?
Yeah, we normally try to make sure that we have a plan to fill in a vacancy when it comes in. Because look, even if we're fully staffed, sometimes there may be a flu outbreak that comes up all of a sudden, and then we have to be able to adjust for that, right? So George Higley, which is here, the district manager, he does a great job for us here in Virginia. And he comes up with a plan he leads the general manager in making sure that we have comprehensive plans and just in case plans if something does happen. So that's how we address those. And if it's a high school and we have 15 workers, there's oftentimes acceptable rates within the food service industry. You may have 1 or 2 vacancies and it's no big deal. But then when you have 4 or 5, then it becomes a big deal. So we're trying to make sure that we are addressing those. And if there is something where there are a lot of illnesses that are going on, that we address and dedicate our resources in the best possible way.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you like I told the nutrition group several years ago, I'm gonna be watching.
I count on it, Ms. Franklin. I think that you will not be disappointed.
Okay, thank you.
Board, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, so I was glad to hear that you have environmental impact care going on. As far as waste is concerned, the waste that you do have, does that all go into a compostable method and stays out of the landfill system and creating methane gas?
We would not have it on year one. There's different things that we work with school districts on in terms of once we start a partnership, what are some of the resources that we want to bring in so we could go ahead and make the proper investments into those things. So we're very restricted with USDA in terms of if we didn't submit it as part of our original bid that we can't purchase those items because it could be determined that we're non-responsive, that we went in a different direction that other people may not have went. But we do have a financial guarantee that we work to hit a floor in terms of a financial surplus after you pay us and all the bills that are associated with the child nutrition program. And if there's a direction that the district wants to go, then we'll make different recommendations. This is how we could help you achieve those goals, including compost, because we do have a lot of schools where we do have a composting program. And where in those schools where we do have a composting program, we try to work with the CTE departments to make sure that we incorporate student involvement as well.
Thank you.
Board, any other questions? This was a great discussion.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much.
It.
All right. Next up, Joshua Kell from Horizon AVL will share a presentation about an esports arena at Auburn High School. Seeing you back there pacing patiently.
Yes, patiently.
Patiently patient.
Well, thank you, members of the board, Dr. Bragan. I'm really excited to present this evening on esports. I'm the CEO of Horizon AVL and Esports Integration. Just a quick little introduction into our company and what we've been doing in the esports space, especially around education. We have worked with over 120 colleges and universities in developing majors and minors, also micro-credentials around the esports industry and its supporting industries as well. We work with countless high schools across the entire country with our full 4-year high school curriculum that meets national CTE course standards, as well as CASEL standards, ISTE standards, and really creating an opportunity for students through the vessel of esports to learn the different skills to prepare them for a career and for workforce development. So I have a lot of slides, so I'm going to try to go through them real quick. It's late. But our process is building the future esports wrapped around curriculum and the facility itself. We are always looking at an opportunity for students to be introduced to an industry maybe they had not thought of in the past. And that's really the objective of every one of our projects across the country. Just to give you a little bit of understanding, we mark 3 levels of all of our projects on 3 things unlocking the future of esports. Number 1, ROI opportunities. ROI opportunities aren't for us a financial element. It's actually on the ROI of success. What is the return on investment that we're putting into our students? And really reaching also a demographic that may not have normally engaged into different academic careers or even after-school activities. And so that ROI opportunity that esports presents is really an amazing opportunity that we see across the country, engaging in a lot of different students. And that kind of brings us to the second point, which is inclusion and diversity. Esports and gaming does not have any walls. It doesn't allow for walls because everyone plays games. In fact, we're getting some statistics on the growth of the industry and where that is today. But what we are seeing is students that have not been reached or may go home or may really not have an engaging element into activities. Esports and gaming is bringing that together. And then finally, through our curriculum, we have a value addition for educators where we have adopted and developed this full curriculum so teachers can do what they do best, and that is to teach. We don't want them spending endless hours learning new industries and curriculum. We've done that lifting through our process and when we develop these programs where it's industry focused, industry outcomes, and it's industry professionals that are pouring into the curriculum itself and the development of that curriculum. I just want to kind of give a little bit of statistics on the esports growth and where it is right now. And this is a global growth from 2015 to here to 2024, what we're forecasting. As you can see, 2015, we are seeing about 1.9 billion individuals that engage on the gaming and esports level. And let me just make a clarification. There is a difference between gaming and esports. Playing video games is the element where we're playing with friends, like the recreational side. Esports is the competitive side, where you have strategy, teams working together, that development. So we include both in all of our numbers because it has to be looked at that entire spectrum. If we focus on one particular aspect, if we focus on just gaming, we're missing the competitive side. And so we're developing a whole ecosystem that exists. And there's some statistics on how many total players that exist and how many people engage in the different types of games as well. Actually, our number 1 gaming element is actually mobile players. So if you play Candy Crush, congratulations, you are in the statistic. And that is the gaming side of things. And then console player is just less than 1 billion, and then PC players themselves are about 1.3 billion. And so looking at a program, an esports program, we actually should consider all of these methods of esports and gaming. Just to give you a little bit of understanding of the job growth out there that exists, there are over 200 plus related career pathways that touch the esports industry. And like I said early on, esports is a vessel, and that's how it should be viewed. It should be viewed as a vessel. The culture today, students are engaging in video games one way or another. And so how do we take a pastime for them, and how do we make it into a career opportunity? The one thing I hear a lot is, I want to be a YouTube star or content creator. But how do you get there? What skill sets do you need to develop in order to get to content creation? Content today, by these individuals, are consumed here. It's not a remote anymore. It's not a television. There are more people watching video games and watching esports competitions than there are watching the Super Bowl. League of Legends Finals had over 200 million people watching. In comparison, the same year, the Super Bowl had only 150 million. So we are seeing a shift, right? And so the culture is still it's still an entertainment element, right? Esports is an entertainment element. So is football, right? We sit at home, we watch football. This new generation is watching and consuming it on their iPads, their tablets, their phones. And so how do we reach this demographic? So the esports and gaming industry is over $184 billion industry. To give you a comparison of an industry, the film and music industry combined last year generated $90 billion. So the esports and gaming industry is more than double revenue so far. So the way that we look at authentic esports is really three pillars: curriculum, community, and competition. And really our focus should be on the curricular outcome. What are we doing to train, to walk these students through, once again, the vessel of esports to prepare them for workforce development and a career path? Second, community. The esports and gaming community exists sort of in two realms, right? First is online, right? That's the obvious one. Everyone kind of always says screen time, you're online a lot. But the one thing here in the States that we haven't really been focusing on is the community and building spaces for individuals to come together so that they can interact in an actual social element physically. When you look at Europe and most Asian cultures, they have internet cafes on every corner. So the social element to gaming and to esports is very different than here in the States. And so our goal is to create these facilities within schools, colleges, universities, and even in public sector or private business, and to bring students together, to bring these gamers to an actual physical place to actually interact. And finally, competition. Competition, we put it in this order for a reason. Competition for us is actually last because we look at traditional sports. We're getting out of March Madness, so basketball, right? We see the players. That is the first and foremost thing that we see when we're watching a game itself. But what's behind the players themselves? Well, you've got sports management, hospitality, you've got broadcasting, you've got marketing. So you have all these industries that are supporting a traditional sport itself. And esports really is no different. And so competition needs to be looked at as supporting elements through the community, through curriculum, to develop a solid program. And through that, these are some of the identifiable careers that we have looked at. So marketing, social media, broadcast communications, IT, business, economics, and sports management. And our process is really to look at the entire ecosystem. And this sort of graphic here shows sort of where we are or how we go through this development. And this is the process that we took Auburn through. Was first identifying the space itself. We did a walkthrough. And then we started through the planning side of things. What does the curriculum integration look like? What are the opportunities? Marketing and branding is actually for our higher education clients, but we have done some marketing and branding for districts to let them know what this initiative looks like and how to promote it in the larger community here in the county. Roadmap development, and this is where most esports programs will fail. If they don't have a 3 to 5 year outlook and a plan of where this program is going, we see most esports either plateau or start to decline. And so the roadmap development process in which we've gone through is what do the next 3 to 5 years look like for the district itself? And a lot of these programs today are after school, co-curricular, but how do we bring that to the classroom? And then equipment specification. So through all this, we've developed some equipment, what hardware is necessary. And then how is that hardware also utilized throughout the day? We have a lot of schools that we have developed where they are utilizing the hardware for CAD, for AutoCAD, they're utilizing it for graphic design, they're utilizing it for editing videos, and other related fields. So the hardware isn't specifically for after school or for competition, it can be utilized in multiple ways. And then finally, league and team development. Now, there's something beneficial here in the state of Virginia. The VHSL has adopted esports as an official sport here in the state, and they've already identified the titles that will be played within the state itself. And those titles are Rocket League, League of Legends, and Super Smash Brothers. Rocket League is cars with soccer balls, and you battle in a round trying to hit the soccer ball with flipping cars and trying to get the ball into the net. Super Smash is all Super Nintendo, so Super Mario characters that are fighting against each other. And then League of Legends is what we call a MOBA. Basically, it's 5 players versus 5 players. I'm trying to capture your base, and the first one to capture the base, they win, in simplest terms. So in our design considerations, like I said, we have identified the hardware that's necessary. These pieces of hardware, what we normally see a longevity of about 5 years. So the investment for the hardware itself is around 5 years. And then as a normal technology refresh, you should consider anyway a 5-year refresh into that. I'm going to go through a lot of this really quick. Sorry. The hardware considerations, we've also taken into consideration all the network development, what needs to happen on the actual network itself, safety protocols, things that need to happen to ensure that the students are on the network properly playing, and then looking at what we call VLANs and QoS, that's network terms. Those developments we actually work through with IT to develop those very strict rules itself. And then the room layout, we look at the classroom versus the competition side. What is the instructional functionality? And then how is the room also meeting rules and regulations for the actual league itself? And a lot of designs don't consider that. And because we've done this a lot, we always take into consideration what those league rules are. And then if you'd like, I would recommend, if you have a Netflix account, and I'm not endorsed by Netflix, I wish I was, because every time I mention this, but the understanding the community and culture is very important. It's very important. And so there is a series on Netflix called 7 Days Out. It's in season 1, it's episode 6. It's actually on a title, and it gives the perspective of the fan, it gives a perspective of the team, and it also gives a perspective of the actual software developer themselves, what they have to go through to actually put on an esports competition. And it gives a really good explanation. It's about 40 minutes, so I would recommend watching that. Just to give you guys some ideas of what's out there as far as programs and how they exist and what they're doing. So Kane University, that's in New Jersey. We developed this particular space. It has competition. It's built in their business school, so we have developed their business outcomes utilizing esports with a minor that exists at Kane University. There's console play, there's competition, there's broadcast, shoutcasting, which is like color and commentating for the actual game itself. University of North Carolina, Greensboro is one of the largest programs that exist out there from an esports competitive side. They also have a minor around religious studies around esports and gaming, which is really unique. And it's something that we've been working through with them for about 1.5 years now. And what's great about this particular space, we are seeing on average 200 students swipe in and utilize the space a day. So they're coming in from a social element, you're seeing the competition, you are seeing also the academic element. There's a company called Epic Games, they developed a game called Fortnite, they also own Rocket League. We've done E2M, what we call E2M courses inside this arena, where we are actually teaching on Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is a software development platform, and so we actually are utilizing these spaces to train educators on what the next level of content is out there. University of Delaware itself, this is a really fun environment. It's one of our first spaces. And then I wanted to bring up Edison High School. It's one of our closest projects. We're really proud of this project, working with Dr. Bragan at Edison to develop not just only a space, but an academic program. They are in their first full year of our esports curriculum. We've gotten a lot of feedback from the students. They didn't think they thought they were actually going to play video games all day long. But at the end of the day, they're doing SWOT analysis. They are going through business plan and design. They wanted to repeat the history of gaming, which is a 3-week module. And they went to the educator and the teacher, and they said, can we redo this? Because we want to dive in deeper. So we're seeing a massive engagement at Edison. So let's talk a little bit about Auburn. So what we've done is we identified a space. Presently, it's utilized for yearbook on one side, which is like the skinnier side, and then there's a classroom on the other side. This actually gives an opportunity to, one, keep the yearbook program. In fact, actually, we will be enhancing the yearbook side of things, giving them better PCs to do Creative Cloud, so Adobe InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, so they can continue doing what they're doing presently. But it also opens up the opportunity for design bays, for editing, for digital media, for other content creation courses that we're looking at. And on the left-hand side is the actual classroom. We've designed the classroom to meet multiple elements where it is instructional by day, but in the evening, it actually will serve as the competition. It will allow for up to 10 competitors in the space. I know there was a question how the spectators sort of view this in an actual classroom. What is unique about Auburn is that the network we've looked at, and we're able to actually take the broadcast side of this portion of the room and go to the auditorium. So spectators can watch and actually enjoy the competition itself. Just to give you an idea of the concept of what this looks like during the day in the space itself, the 21 desks in the general area, and then competition by daytime, and just kind of as it gets darker, kind of what it looks like in the space itself. What you see with the ring lights and the camera, those are the competition spaces with broadcast quality cameras, and all the inputs are going back to the broadcast area. We have a shoutcasting area, which also is the teacher desk as well. So shoutcast, like I said, it's color and commentating. That's statistics and that sort of thing. So there's an area for after-school shoutcast, but then it's also the instructional space for the teacher, for their laptop, their PC, to then put content throughout the space. And they have the ability to put content on the different displays themselves throughout. So as they're teaching from an instructional perspective, that content is then showed on the displays throughout the room, what it looks like in competition mode. And then this is just sort of a back corner shot looking into the room. You will see also 2 console areas. Consoles are also part of esports, as I said, mobile gaming, PCs, and consoles. And because one of your titles is Super Smash, that is exclusively on Nintendo Switch, so we would need to provide a space for them as well, which then also kind of gives them a little hangout space after school for the club. And what this looks like in the evening in competition. And then this is the design concept itself for the control room. We are looking at all broadcast quality elements where the students are actually going to be, through our course, we offer multiple different certifications. Adobe certification is one of them, but also CTS. CTS is Career Technical Career Technical Specialist. That is actually the AV industry itself. It is actually one of we are desperately looking for individuals that understand the AV industry and the broadcast industry, because it is such a fast-paced and growing industry itself. We're taking esports and utilizing that to teach and to train these students to actually have a career path into, or introduce them at least into, what audiovisual is, whether it's putting up displays, hanging projectors, sound systems, microphones, but also developing lighting shows, and then all the broadcast skills that they would need for competition or any other news broadcast. Just some different angles inside the room itself, a full broadcast desk. And just let me go through the curriculum. So at UNC Greensboro, we had a whole year of competition last year, where the students, we had over 72 high schools compete in the Scholastic Esports Alliance. And at the end, at UNC Greensboro, we hosted the finals. The finals was down to the last Rocket League teams, the 16 teams that competed over the weekend. But it didn't stop with just the teams. We also had all their shoutcasters. We had all their event management, their hospitality students that had gone through the program. And so these students were running the event. Oops. Oh, I gave away statistics. They were running the event. They were managing the event. And we, as the professionals, were behind them, making sure that everything was running smooth. And it was such an exciting element to watch, really, these students in their element. So part of our curriculum, the educational content, on average, the schools that implement esports fundamentals, that's our introduction course. It's also our summer camp course with 40 plus learners a year outside of competition. We're seeing 135% of increased participation. One statistic actually we don't have in here, based on the curriculum in a high school, 93% of the students that are participating in our 4-year curriculum are not playing competitive esports. So only 7% are actually playing esports from a competitive level. Adopters of our esports curriculum, esports level 1 and 2, we've seen with multiple sections of teaching those, fill immediately. We're seeing 183% increase in esports participation through our curriculum itself. And these are some of the CTE and STEM fields that we've identified in the space: broadcast, film, IT, coding, business, economics, marketing, and PR. And we do have an implementation process for our curriculum. So we have PD within our platform itself, but we also have PD on a regular scheduled basis with the teacher. This is a new industry. It's new content. Not everyone has been in the esports industry for a long time, so we want to make sure that they understand the curriculum through that process. So this is just a quick overview of our phasing. Our normal implementation process, a minimum of 4 months, a minimum. The longest that we've actually implemented is 60 months. That was for several courses at once, but we recommend about a six-month implementation process for curriculum. That way that gives the instructor and the teacher enough time to go through the content. We walk them through it. They understand what the lesson plans are, what the activities are, and how to look at that from a semesterized and a yearly perspective. These are some of the courses that we offer in our arts, media, entertainment cluster: content creation, broadcast 1, broadcast 2, film 1, 2, game design and Unreal Engine. In the IT side, game design with Unreal Engine, and then with a broadcast emphasis, cybersecurity. We also have a Cisco certified course that is part of our IT cluster itself. So they're walking away with their CCNT, which is their introduction into Cisco networking. And we also offer through our course IT and a CompTIA certification as well. And then we also have a hospitality and a tourism course that has been rapidly growing from a lot of schools that are starting to adopt more and more on the hospitality side. We also offer, through all of our curriculum, we also offer our extra and co-curricular content, esports fundamentals, and there's a lot of different modules that exist. We do also have esports coaching. That's not to coach the students, that's actually to coach the coach. What does it mean to actually coach an esports program itself? These are some of the handouts that we can certainly give you guys as far as our course guide. It kind of gives a full description of what that looks like. And then we do have our own LMS platform that we have developed that will actually has a teacher's module section with all their notes, with all their criteria, so that they have all their lesson plans in front of them, what they're going to be going through week by week through their pacing. And then we have a student engaged version that has daily check-ins, SEL checks, and then that will walk them through the curriculum itself. And I think with that, we have some handouts if you're interested. It kind of goes over the why of esports, a lot of frequently asked questions, but then some of the statistics that we've showed tonight are in some of those handouts. So thank you. Any questions?
Board, we'll go around with some questions. Maybe start down here with Dr. Guthrie.
Sure.
I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to just start with a couple. What is the cost per student?
For which aspect? The curriculum itself?
Well, I don't know because I don't know what's actually being proposed for MCPS. Is it just the space? Because
Right now, the space is is what we are going through the development of, and then the curriculum would then be behind that. Depending on how many sections that you're looking at and how many students enroll, on average, we see 60 to 90 students that are actually enrolling in our courses. So the cost per student, depending, is roughly about 100 to 120 per student.
Okay. And I think some of the questions I have are more for the administration because I thank you for the presentation and the enthusiasm. Sure. There's lots around this I don't quite understand. Is this part? Are we incorporating this into the curriculum? I know that we have cybersecurity, we have computer science, we have these other faculty. Are they involved in this? Have they been asking for it? Why Auburn? Is there like a plan for the whole division? I just have so many questions that don't have to do with esports itself or your company, but MCPS.
There's a lot there, Dr. Gitry. This presentation was really just for y'all to have Josh get in front of y'all and share what esports is from his perspective and what the possibilities are. Where that lands is wherever the school board decides to make that direction. We looked at Auburn because there was space available. And when we looked at that high school, from the brief experience that I've had doing this in another location, that was an ideal fit because of the way that room was set up, that if we did indeed use that location, it would require minimal modifications, which would be less cost for the physical structure. Ideally, we picked Auburn because there was space. It's an opportunity there. We have our robotics, which is featured a lot of Blacksburg students, and it's also housed at Christiansburg High School. This would be something to do down on that side of the county. If we thought, again, this is an idea. Nothing's been etched in stone. We're having conversations, wanted to share it with the school board. If we went down to Eastern Montgomery High School, that may be too far for other people that want to participate. We thought Auburn may catch some Eastern Montgomery students as well as catch some students from Christiansburg that are interested, that want to be a part of it. The idea would be if we moved forward, right, and if that was something that the school board wanted to invest in, is that we started out as esports, as a gaming and after-school type activity, get a coach, and that's what we did where I came from, and then it grows. Mm-hmm. The interest grows, it becomes larger. Kids, as Josh had said, start asking for the classes, the curriculum, because they see the value in it. And for me, I wanted to present it to all of you because that's what I get paid to do, come up with ideas and things and how we can move the division forward. You all decide what you want to do. I became aware of this about 7 years ago at a conference I went to in New Jersey, and I had no idea what this even was. And when I saw how big it was, how it impacted, how kids are getting scholarships, how it's pervasive at universities. And if you go down, I would encourage everyone here, if we consider having further discussions, go to Radford University and look at their esports arena that they've set up. This is huge. I thought it was a good idea to share with y'all and get your thoughts.
And also the 3 to 5 year process, and that's why we mentioned roadmap, right? Curriculum isn't always adopted day one. Some schools do, some districts do, but sometimes we just need to walk before we run. And so, as Dr. Bragan is sort of stating, what does this look like to start? And then how do we grow this, right? That's part of our process, is to develop that roadmap. We really feel it should be for every student, right? And every opportunity, every school. And that adoption can look a bunch of different ways. It could be multiple schools at once. It can be 1 at a time, 2 at a time, right? So there's some strategic planning that we're here to offer that process. And our advice of what we've done across the country, and what those next steps look like.
Ms. Farden?
So I am very intrigued at how the esports, I know a little bit about it, but not a whole lot. So, what it brings out in our students, the decision-making, the strategic thinking, the team whatever, and like you said, the competition of the ones who aren't maybe athletically inclined or who aren't interested in a physical sport.
Correct.
I think that part of it is great. I think there's a lot of great things about it. And I was going to ask you, I know you've touched on the positives of the gaming. Do you see any connection between any positive and negative there of something that could happen that you look for, that you watch out for, you make sure doesn't happen? And then can you tell me again the difference between, like, have you seen a difference in the kids who are just social media crazy, which are 99.99999% of them, turn from something bad, this, and maybe make better decisions on that end?
There's a lot to unpack there. So, let's talk about the positive and what are the negatives that are out there in the gaming and the esports world. Because you have to identify them, right? And that's part of the process. That's the reality. One, video games at large have gone very unchecked in our households, right? So as a parent, I have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. I am an avid gamer. I still game even at 42. Yes, I do, even apart my appearance. So we as parents have made a lot of decisions in our household just because Dad is a gamer. I understand the industry. These programs that we've developed, one, we feel it takes a village, right? Instructors need to help identify digital citizenship, right? It goes beyond gaming too, right? Social media is so ingrained into the gaming world as well. How do you approach toxicity, right? That is a huge problem in the gaming world. And it goes left unchecked because parents may not understand it. They don't understand, the communication that's happening or what is being said. So our awareness, we start actually our programs at 5th grade. It's not just high school for us. It actually does go all the way down to 5th grade. And it is an introduction into what does it mean to be a good digital citizen online and through gaming. Because when we look at toxicity that's happening with an 18 and 19, someone that's in college, it's hard to reel them back because behaviors have now been learned and they've gone unchecked and no one knew about it until it's too late. And so the programs that we developed actually identify that very early on within our curriculum is what is your responsibility within the gaming realm. It is not just... I know that the media and everything sort of focuses on, the first thing they'll focus on is a first-person shooter. But there are thousands of other titles that are out there, and they are not all that genre. And so how do we utilize something like a development of game like Candy Crush and utilize that as a teaching aid? That is the way that we unpack that. So I know I spent a lot of time on that, and I can't remember your second part. I'm sorry.
Gosh, what did I say? how do you see that affecting to the ones who are at that point? Like you said, do you see any turnaround? Do you see any hope? Do you see if they're making better decisions on that end from what they were making?
Absolutely. So we do see an increase in participation from a grade level as well, because it's something that they want to do, right? Esports is the hook. It's the shiny object, to be absolutely honest. But through that lens, they are then engaged. And when they're engaged, we're seeing grades go up, we're seeing GPAs go up, we're starting to see that correlation with true curriculum that has been identified, that is then implemented in the school systems. We are also seeing attendance go up as well. That is one of the big things that we've been tracking. There's a school in LA where we introduced what we call a passion project. So every Friday, a teacher would pick a particular topic, and one of those was esports. We saw in this school in LA on Fridays, about 45% of the student population would not even show up on Fridays, just because, why? Why do it? We almost saw that switch turn around to that increased, that 45% that would not come, we got 80% of them back because they wanted to learn about YouTube and streaming, Mr. Beast, Dude Perfect, you name any of those large social media influencers, that's what intrigues them. So bringing this through that lens has really increased engagement.
Linwood, do you care if I ask one more?
Sure, go for it.
Thank you. So tell me how this can help improve in math, science, history.
Great question. Absolutely. So in our esports broadcasting course, they are writing scripts. They are developing stories. They are utilizing their abilities to write, right? How to tell a story on camera. It's very different than writing a book, right? How I present myself to an audience, I have to learn those skill sets of writing specifically for broadcast and how to write for film and storytelling. And then when we're looking at some of the other elements, if we look at science, in some of the software that's out there, there's an Unreal Engine that's called Fortnite Creative, where students are utilizing gravity and physics to overcome an object inside the environment. And so they're utilizing math and physics in the video game itself to understand these concepts. Also in our broadcast course, we do statistics. We teach the students mathematical understanding of how to bring statistics into the game. And what does that look like in the middle of a game to take data, do the math work, and to come out with statistical outcomes.
Okay, so you
Some
mentioned
examples.
Fortnite. So my daughter's gotten into Fortnite. I mean, she's Fortnite. Like if she's not studying, she's upstairs on Fortnite. I'm like, you're playing that video game. And she's like, Mom, you don't understand. And then she's let me know that gaming apparently increases the gray matter in your brain and doesn't something about stimulating.
Yes.
So she's giving me all these reasons as to why it's great for her to be playing Fortnite.
Sure. They're going to make the case for it, right? But yes, you are correct. There is a level of stimulation that happens within the game itself, especially when you're looking at games that are puzzle games. Like if you think there's a game called Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is the new one. When you're going through that game, there's a thing called shrines. When you go into a shrine, it's a puzzle. You've got to figure out how to get through the maze, and you're trying to work. And the player doesn't understand that you're actually working with physics, and you're working with angles, and you're working with timing, and you're trying to really think through this game and how to accomplish the puzzle at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Bond?
Okay, so I don't know that I have any questions, but because I'm not a gamer and I'm not a Candy Crusher and I'm not any of that kind of stuff, I got a 2,000-piece puzzle on my dining room table, but that's about where it ends, and I'm a crafter. But I can put anything together, that's about it. So, and I did actually share concerns of one of our speakers earlier when I came in, but I have to say, I have completely changed my whole outlook because your knowledge and enthusiasm and your passion is definitely, you know what you've got here and you believe in it. And that has won me over because it's completely different than what I think the average gaming idea
Absolutely.
is. And it takes someone who's not a gamer to see that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that we are considering doing it at Auburn because they need that. And, some of our bigger schools have plenty other things. And our smaller schools don't always get those opportunities. So this is a wonderful opportunity to engage them in something of their very own that they can be proud of.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah.
And I'm about the learning, but I'm about that too. Kids have to feel good about what they're doing and that passion and that love
Yeah.
and believing in it. And that's what will carry them to the next level quicker than anything else.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And like I said, you made me a believer. So.
Let me throw in a couple questions before I forget here.
Sure.
I'm a software engineer myself, so I'm down with all this stuff. It's cool. I guess a couple questions though. How many public school systems have you worked with? You mentioned Edison, obviously, but
Over 200.
colleges as well.
Over 200 public schools, and like medium-sized to larger districts as well, in developing the program. 10, 12, 13 schools per district. and it's all across the country. So schools in Kentucky right now, schools in North Carolina, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. We're talking with a pretty large rollout with the University of North Florida and Duval County in Jacksonville. So we've been working with a lot of public schools because they are the CTE initiative and what that looks like, trying to navigate through that. It's different from state to state. I'll say there's a reason why I don't have any hair left. So that's not the reason why. But there are a lot of different rules, regulations, but all these schools see that passion. They see that these students become very engaged when we start to introduce it beyond the after school element.
Okay. Yeah. And then the second question, I'm not sure if you were here during public comment, but one of our speakers expressed, some concerns just about
Absolutely.
About student safety.
Yeah.
So one, I'd be curious how much of that kind of stuff you could speak to, how much of that is kind of managed through your program versus the responsibility of the administration to make sure that
Absolutely.
our students aren't exposed to networking hazards and stuff.
So ultimately, what we do is through our processes, there's two elements. Through our process without the VHSL, right, and what they're doing at the state level, we actually ask what titles as a district are you comfortable with? We go through the game, we show examples of the game, and then we make the decision, right? Because not all titles are for every school. Games like Counter-Strike, which was mentioned earlier, it is a game that's a first-person shooter. Most high schools actually don't even adopt that game at all. Games like Rainbow Six Siege, etc. There's a game called Valorant that is a 5-player versus 5-player. It's not realistic from a military, terrorist, counter-terrorist bomb element, but there are objectives and it is a first-person shooter. So there are some schools that adopt that game. Once again, it comes down to what is the district comfortable with, and there are a lot of titles called esports for a reason. So there's multiple sports, and you don't have to compete in all of them. The competition side of things is something we have to consider, but then what is your overall stance? And we can go through that in detail at some other time. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Purcell?
Similarly to Dr. Gitchie, I have questions that are probably more for the for the division before
Sure.
They're specifically for you. But I mean, what is the plan to start some buy-in? Is there a Super Smash Brothers club at Auburn High School where they're already playing together, or is there a plan to offer that and make sure they're even interested in it?
So we have surveys that we can send out that you can poll the students on the titles that they either play or like, or, hey, we're looking to bring this. Right now, the spring season is coming to an end for the state of Virginia. So it would be an adoption for the fall. What does this look like from a school perspective? So we do have some resources that you guys can certainly hand out to the schools, to the students themselves, after sort of presenting this concept. And that's a great follow-up. Like, what is the engagement? What does that look like? And so we do have some material that we've been more happy to share with you guys and to distribute to the school.
From my perspective, Ms. Purcell, I haven't gone down that road yet. I'm waiting for direction from the board. This was just information, get it out there. Something that we thought was successful where I came from. Doesn't mean it'd be successful here. I wanted to get Josh's team to come in, take a look at what we could possibly do here and share with all of you. If that's where we want to go, that's a great next step. Survey students, see what interest is, and then bring that information back and see what the board, what direction they want us to take.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the other just thought, comment, I know a little bit about esports. I come from like a media studies background, and I teach in a college that has a sports media program. And your paragraph about inclusion and diversity, I'm glad that it's it's there, but gaming is not a diverse. It's a lot of guys. If
Well,
I
actually,
were to,
actually, it's about 42% female that are competing in. When we look at it from a collegiate and high school perspective, not the entire global element that exists. Right? We can look at the global statistics. We want to focus on how we're developing the programs within schools, and what we are actually seeing is a greater increase. There in New Jersey, there's actually an all-female league that exists right now in the state of New Jersey. There's over 300 schools that are competing right now in New Jersey. So those that identify and a female league, that league does exist in the state of New Jersey, and it's about 39% if you look at the entire element. So it's not, and I know if you look at it from a global perspective, that would be lower. Sure, I agree with that. But when we create an environment early on, my daughter, who's 12, she games a lot. She loves Minecraft, loves Fortnite Creative, and we encourage that, right? We encourage that element, and a lot of younger students are more engaged into it as they get older. If you don't have those programs or those facilities and those safe havens, it does start, the statistics start to come apart a bit. And so that has been sort of the challenge, is that there haven't been all these programs to continue to foster that from 5th, 6th grade level, because they don't know where that outlet is, right? They don't know where that program exists. So we are seeing a pretty good increase. But I do know the statistic also from a global perspective. And you are correct. There is it starts to change the older that we get too, so my wife doesn't play anymore anything, maybe Mario Kart from time to time, but.
sure. I mean, I think there's just, and you had addressed this as well, like there's a pretty toxic online culture.
Yes.
Developing from a younger age, a kind of sportsmanship that is more inclusive would be really wonderful.
Absolutely.
I definitely come from it from a very skeptical perspective, but thank you.
Sure.
Dr. Roundtree.
Yeah, so again, I think my questions are probably more for the district, but at Auburn, what are what's the curriculum currently look like for computer science, computer-aided design, mechanical simulations, electronic simulations, statistics? Do those already exist, or?
I couldn't get that off the top of my head with any degree of accuracy, but I'd be more than happy to share that.
Okay. Yeah, and along with that, just what, if those do exist, what are the spaces that are available there for those, and how does this how will having this enhance those spaces? Will this replace those spaces, or will this be an additive benefit to those spaces?
Without the specifics, Dr. Roundtree, the expectation would be to add to everything globally and not take away. Catch the kids that right now are maybe not as engaged in the learning in school as a whole, and provide an opportunity for them to meet with success that would then translate into different areas. So the idea would not be to take from anywhere else, but we'd have to see how that materializes right after if we did implement something, what that would look like.
All right. And
But
then,
I can get that information for you.
yeah, sounds good. And then for you, does your program address gaming addiction? And if so, in what ways does it address it? It is one of the unique things here. I've known a few people that have reading addictions. Very few
That have what? I'm sorry?
That have reading addictions.
Reading
Very
addictions?
few that have math addictions. I know a lot with gaming addictions.
Sure. When you look at the curriculum, we are not looking at gaming in the school itself during school hours. Number one, that is always a priority in the curriculum. And in year one, yes, we actually do address what does this look like from a mental health perspective. What does a lot of screen time look like? And games can be addictive, and so how do you identify that early on? And really, because we're kind of putting safeguards within the curriculum itself to not be gaming during class time, we are really kind of honing that in a bit. So gaming is only after school from a competitive side. But yes, we do identify the mental health issues, the physical elements, and what that looks like. So yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. Franklin?
Well, I'm gonna say, like I said before, how much of the $40,000 that was approved went into this? Any?
Trying to turn the mic on there. We allocated $40,000 for this design and plan. I don't know the exact cost, but I could share that with the school board. Guarantee it was under that, but I'll get that information. I don't want to speak without having the exact numbers.
Okay, so as a couple of board members have asked the question, how do we know what the interest is, not just at Auburn, but across the county? And even though it's at Auburn, that doesn't mean that the children at Auburn would still have the same access as folks from across the county, from other parts of the county, because you still have to get back to the school. So I don't see any price tags yet or what this final looks like. It looks nice and pretty, but we've got lots of areas, other things and needs in the county that I think the resources could go to right now. So that's my input for tonight.
Board, any other questions or comments? I think we have a lot to discuss, obviously, and try to figure out what next steps would look like here. But Mr. Kell, thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
All right, next up, Mark Husband will present a summary of the 2024-25 Strengthening Career and Technical Education for the 21st Century Act, the Perkins 5 grant application.
Good evening again. The Perkins Grant is a grant that is funded at the federal level and then pushed down to the states, and then each individual school division fills out an application annually. The Perkins Grant is not a competitive grant. It is actually allocated based on a formula based on the number of students in poverty that live in our locality, in this case Montgomery County, ages 5 through 17, as well as a total count of children ages 5 to 17 that are living in Montgomery County. It is not strictly a Montgomery County Public Schools tally. And so we have filled out our application as we do annually every April and are sending it forward to the Virginia Department of Education. Roughly $182,000 this year, broken down into 3 different categories, the largest of which is equipment that is spent on our CTE programs each year. And then also funding is set aside for teacher professional development, and counselors also count under that subcategory. And then also a large amount of money that is set aside for student certifications each year. Any questions for me? I believe you all have the short presentation in board docs.
I don't have any questions about the grant. Grateful. But we had our liaison meeting with the Board of Supervisors today.
Okay.
And one of the biggest concerns was EMT training. And we've talked about that a little bit, and I would like for the board to look into that. Ed, you'll have to help me on how to get that on the agenda the right way, but this was an opportunity of a door opening for career and tech, and I know it could be part of a nursing program, but they really talked about the need in our county for getting EMT people trained and hopefully into that program. So I don't, share with me where I need to bring this up at, new, old, young, whatever, tonight. New, old, incoming, outcoming, whatever, you tell me where it needs to be and I'll bring it up. But it's to be an open door to a discussion about that because it's a big need.
Absolutely.
A big need.
Yes, ma'am.
Board, any other questions? Comments? We're not taking action tonight, is that?
Correct. First reading, we'll ask for a vote in a week.
Great.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. All right, next up, Dr. Widener will present the MCPS staffing update.
Good evening. I have a summary of our current vacancies for our certified and classified staff for the current year. And then, as you'll see when we get to that part of the presentation, I've also included information about our vacancies that we are aware of for the next school year and what we have done to fill those so far. So as I usually begin with, just a comparison of where we are now, April 9th, to where we were approximately 1 year ago. You can see the numbers, particularly for our teacher positions, are slightly higher this year than they were last year. The next comparison is where we are now to where we are approximately this time last month. And you can see, and I'll review these as we go into the specific areas. We have some increases. We've added a couple of recent vacancies in our administrator and administrator category, as well as 2 teacher categories. And again, I'll go through those specifics here in just a second. So we'll start with our administrator employee vacancies. So the coordinator of special education, that's been vacant for some time now. And at this point, we're just trying to fill that position for next year. We've had 2 recent vacancies for administrators. An assistant principal at CMS has transitioned to a position outside the schools division. That's very recent, so that vacancy just opened up on Monday. And then our director of finance has also taken another position outside the school division. So those are our 2 most recent administrator vacancies that we have posted and are accepting applications and hope to fill very soon. Our elementary vacancies, these are similar to where they were last year. As I indicated, this is the time of year for vacancies that we still have. The applicant pool is thin in terms of applicants who are available to start now. So we are and have been relying on, in many cases, filling these with long-term subs. In some cases, those subs are licensed, like our reading specialist at Harding Avenue. I will say the ESL teacher position, which was a relatively new position, we do have a candidate recommended for that position who hopefully that will work out and that individual will be able to start and finish out the school year for us. So that is one change. And we did add a new classroom teacher position at Harding Avenue recently because of a teacher that has left due to relocation. On the secondary side, again, this is very similar to what you saw last time. So again, we're fortunate to have many long-term subs in place for these positions. And in most of these cases, we are working to fill these positions for next year. And in special education, again, this is similar as to where we were last month. So we continue to have 2 teaching positions in the elementary side, 2 in the secondary side, our speech language pathologist, which we've been contracting at this point, as well as our school psychologist position. But again, we have filled some of those positions for next year. So even though we don't have them filled for the end of this year, we have identified and hired people who will fill some of those positions for next year. That's our certified side of vacancies. I want to move on and address our classified positions. So we continue to post and look for individuals to fill our 2 HVAC positions. We do have a candidate recommended for one of our grounds maintenance positions. We also have a candidate recommended for our open construction project manager. And technology has recently filled some technician positions, but we did have a new one open up in March. So we do have 1 vacancy there. We have recently filled a 6.5-hour bus driver position and are accepting applications for 2 4.25-hour positions and are accepting applications for a mechanic, 2 bus aides, and the transportation department is in the process of interviewing and hiring for their open administrative assistant position. As you know, we're in the hiring process for our executive administrative assistant board clerk. We continue to review applications for our floater nurse position. We have filled an ISS paraprofessional position at Blacksburg Middle School recently. Our biggest area of vacancy right now is in the area of special education paraprofessionals. That is somewhat due to the fact that we have recently created new positions based on the needs of students. So there are currently 11 vacancies there with 1 candidate recommended. But again, several of those are relatively new positions. And then we have a relatively recent preschool initiative position that we are accepting applications for. We have 2 candidates recommended for lunch recess aides positions and are trying to fill positions at Gilbert Lincas and Harding. Custodians, we have 2 open elementary custodian positions. We have recently filled 2 at 2 elementary schools and now are looking to fill one at Bellevue and Gilbert Lincas. We have recently filled several secondary custodian positions, and that leaves us with 2 secondary custodian positions, both at Auburn Middle School. So those are our current positions. I just want to give you a quick summary of our substitute information. We now have 563 active substitutes. We actually have orientation tomorrow with 15 new substitutes that should be attending. We've seen an increase in our fill rate in March compared to February. Our teacher fill rate is slightly over 93%. It was at about 90% in February, so we've seen an increase there. And we've seen a more significant increase in our fill rate for paraprofessionals in the month of March compared to February. In the month of March, it was about 37%, and it's slightly above 46%, so that's an improvement there. And then you can see the substitute fill rate broken down by community for both teachers and paraprofessionals for the month of March. All right, I'm going to switch gears now, and I've changed the colors on the screen to indicate it, but I also want to, this is a time of year, much of our hiring efforts is focused on filling positions that we know are currently vacant for next year. So I want to give you a breakdown by category of where we know our open positions are and what progress we have made to fill those positions. So our administrator positions that are currently open for next year, again, I've referenced some of these, but we are looking to fill a 10-month special education coordinator position. We have an open principal position at Margaret Beeks Elementary School. I think we're in the process of setting up interviews, and there'll be a survey going out to staff and parents this week regarding feedback for that. We have an open assistant principal position at Price's Fork Elementary School and at CMS. So those positions are posted, and we are accepting and reviewing applications for all of those positions. Elementary open positions for next year, and anything that is in yellow means that we've either filled it or we have a candidate recommended. So you can see we've made some progress here. And I do want to take the opportunity to commend the work of our principals in our buildings and their administrative teams, because they are the ones who do the work of reviewing the applications and setting up the interviews. And so you can see we have filled a number of these positions already. And so that's largely due to the work of our administrators, who are very cognizant of where they have vacancies and have taken the time to be proactive in trying to fill them. So at Auburn Elementary, we have filled a classroom teacher position. We have a candidate recommended for a reading specialist there. At Christiansburg Elementary School, we have filled 1 classroom teacher position with the candidate recommended for their 2nd position. We have filled a school counselor position in that building as well. We have filled a position at Christiansburg Primary School, and we have another candidate recommended for the 2nd opening there. We are accepting applications for a recent classroom teacher position at Eastern Montgomery Elementary School, and we're in the hiring process of filling an art teacher position there. Continuing to look at elementary, we have filled the music teacher position at Gilbert Lincas for next year. We're in the hiring process of filling the reading specialist position at Harding, accepting applications at Kipps Elementary for a classroom teacher. We're in the hiring process for filling a school counselor position at Kipps. And we have filled 2 positions, classroom teacher positions at Price's Fork, and are accepting applications for another position there. So that's a breakdown of our elementary vacancies for next year. Moving on to middle school, at Auburn Middle School, we have candidates recommended for both a math teacher and school counselor position there. We are accepting applications for a Spanish teacher that will be split between Blacksburg Middle School and Auburn Middle School. We have filled an ESL position that is split between Blacksburg Middle School and Blacksburg High School. We have recommended a English teacher for BMS. We have filled a math teacher position at BMS, and we have a candidate recommended for a science teaching position at BMS. At CMS, we are accepting applications for an English social studies teaching position, earth science position, and instructional math coach, and we are in the hiring process for filling a CTE business position there. And we have filled a science teacher position at Shawsville Middle School. So that's a summary of middle school. And lastly, moving on to high school, at Auburn High School, we have a candidate recommended for a science teaching position. We are accepting applications for the athletic director position at Blacksburg High School. We have a candidate recommended for an English teaching position at Blacksburg High School. We have filled one science teacher position at BHS, and we have another candidate that's been recommended. A candidate has been recommended for social studies and math teaching positions at Blacksburg High School, and we are accepting applications for a CTE carpentry teaching position there. At CHS, we are accepting applications for the athletic director position. We have candidates recommended there for a reading specialist, for a Spanish teacher, accepting applications for 2 science teaching positions, and a health and PE teaching position. We have filled the position for a math teacher at Eastern Montgomery High School, are accepting applications for a Spanish teacher split between Eastern Montgomery High School and Shawsville Middle School. We're accepting applications for an ISAEP teacher at Montgomery Central, and we have filled a reading specialist teaching position there as well. So I know that's a lot of information, but I just wanted to give you an overview on where we are in our progress of filling positions for next year. Do you have any questions?
Were there any questions? I know a lot of work goes into that, so thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay,
First, thank you so much. I know a lot of work goes into pulling all this information together. I do have a question about the previous slide, but before I ask that one, so my understanding is that, or what I was told is that this presentation may have come out of requests having to do with retention and trying to get data related to retention. So for me, if that is part of the motivation, I'm wondering if the information that we're getting helps us to address that issue. Because we're not seeing much difference from one presentation to another, correct? I mean, there's slight variation, and there's duplication between this and the actual personnel report, that the people who are filling the positions. So I guess I'm kind of curious about the information we're getting and how much we're actually gleaning from it when the only point of comparison is from a year, the prior year at that time. So I'm curious as to, because we're getting the presentation once a month, every other meeting, is it?
We get it once a month, the first meeting of the month, that's correct.
Yeah. I mean, do you have thoughts about that? If there is other ways of presenting the information that might help to even address kind of the retention issues, if that was one of the reasons for having the presentation?
Well, I think first of all, it's to be transparent, so that you're all fully aware of where our vacancies are, where we're making progress, what's changing. Hopefully, seeing this every month, we can identify trends. I think, for example, clearly we can see, this year we've seen a higher number of vacancies in our special education positions. Those have been hard to fill positions. So I think that's good knowledge for us to have. And in terms of what the board wants to choose to how to use that information or recommendations you want to make.
Yeah, because I could see ways in which if you had 5 years of data and like at schools or positions and had points of comparison to know when there's really a dip, because if you only have the 1 year prior, that doesn't tell you a whole lot about other trends, because it could just be something happening at a particular school, or I don't know. So that's just one of the questions. Like, there's about the actual information we're getting, and if there's other ways, other more useful information, if beyond just transparency, which I appreciate. I don't know if anybody else.
I mean, I guess I'd kind of share some of my perspectives. I'd be happy to hear from other board members too. I mean, this has kind of evolved over time, right? It's kind of been tried to solve a bunch or answer a bunch of different questions. I think retention may be one of them. Trends, I think if I'm not mistaken, you showed numbers both past year and past month too, right? So we can kind of see short term, long term. Like with anything, you could mine that all day long, right? And try to look for stuff. The sub-fill rates, I know, were an issue for us at one point, particularly coming out of COVID. So that's why that's kind of on there, right? I mean, I'm not sure this is the question that you're asking, but I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea for us maybe to think about, like, do we still need this? Is this giving us what we want? Maybe we need look at, to do something else, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of work goes into this. I do want to make sure that it's providing us value and we're not just wasting Dr. Weiner's time doing this. I find it valuable, but,
Yeah, and I'm not saying to get rid of it entirely. I could see once a quarter, or I just don't, I don't, more data points and maybe not as frequently might help to identify issues with retention or with subfill rates or some of the information. I don't know if anybody else feels the same.
What I think I'm hearing is, Dr. Guthrie, and I think it's a good idea, is you'd like to look at a retention rate study maybe over a 10-year trend by division, by grade level, but maybe by content area, and then analyze what's the trend, as opposed to seeing this monthly. And I'm not saying to replace it, maybe do something in addition. What are retention rates? What are they? What have they been over time? Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, I had heard that this was one of the reasons for getting these updates. It was to try to get at retention, and I don't know that this is actually addressing it effectively at a division level. So yeah.
But I think we could do that specifically outside of this, right? If this is the idea to have this information and the board can decide, right, for transparency, what are our openings? What are we looking at? What are we filling? How are we doing? But in addition to that, what are the trends for retention over time? And in specific strands, maybe specific grade levels and specific content areas. I think that'd be good information.
Okay, good. And I guess I just have one other question. So I'm seeing BHS up there a lot, and I've heard anecdotally that there are morale issues at BMS and BHS, and I think we know some of the reasons why. There's, BHS has a hard year. One of the suggestions that I had heard from inside the building was it would be great if we got a little more administrative support to help us during these difficult time. Has that been provided? When you see that, what does that say to you that whole list at BHS, when what I've heard is in the past that you would have very few vacancies at BHS. It was either retirement or people moving. I don't know, have you heard about morale issues, and is that on your radar? Was there additional administrative support provided to BHS to help them through this difficult period since November?
So during this time, I mean, we've provided additional administrative support at Blacksburg High School. We've had a substitute administrator there, and then we've had a number of central office staff who have gone over there to provide additional support.
I think what you heard is accurate, that we do have scheduled central office administrators that have a schedule that are going over there on a rotating basis, trying to get as much help and as support as we can. It's a tough time over there, I'm not going to lie about that. And hopefully we get back to some degree of normalcy in a short period of time.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Franklin?
Okay, so part of the reason behind this report was to give the board a better picture as to what is actually happening in the district around hiring. And to see the number of custodians, number of bus drivers, now special ed positions that are across the country are becoming harder and harder to fill. So that for me, when I'm looking at the budget and I'm looking at how we're distributing our funds, our resources, because these are the people who are directly impacting our students every day, where we might need to look out of the box to do things like adding permanent subs, providing benefits, retirement benefits for our nurses, raising the pay for our custodians. These are the types of things for me that help me understand we've got to do something different in some of these areas.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yeah, so regarding substitutes, you mentioned that there's a orientation coming up or that just occurred. I had a question about the two classifications of substitutes. You have 15 new substitutes and 27 RIHEP substitutes.
Mm-hmm.
Do we require the same orientations for those new substitutes versus recently retired teachers for RIHEP? that are coming out of the classroom? Do they have to go through all the same types of training?
So we do, our teachers who retire or people who exit the school division and then come back to work with us as substitutes, we do bring them back to the orientation. And that's just really so that they, even though they have experience in the classroom and probably know more about things like classroom management, just making sure that they understand the frontline system and the processes and procedures we have in place. We just we just feel it helps make sure that everyone is on the same page and understands our expectations and our processes and procedures.
Okay.
Ms. Purcell?
To build off something that you mentioned, Dr. Widener, and something that Ms. Franklin also brought up, just the shortage of special education teachers. That, you know, we see it at a local level, but we know that it's a national problem. And that would definitely, you know, making sure that people, the new teachers to that profession who may have had training, but they don't exactly know what they're getting into when they get their own, you know, new teachers to the profession, or, you know, people coming in. I mean, what are the supports? I don't feel like as a board member necessarily I would have the background to effectively dictate a plan to say, like, hey, how do we at MCPS make sure that we retain these teachers so that our students do have the support that they need so that they can be successful. I would hope that would come from you all to let us know we're making sure that special education teachers are not resigning because we have implemented these extra supports, or we're talking to them and we're seeing this trend and we know that we can address it from a management standpoint. Does that make, I don't know, that's just my my thought on your
If that's something you would want us to provide more information for at another meeting, I could certainly bring that forward. I mean, just some of the things we have in place. Anybody who's new to the school division in a certified position, they go through a week-long new teacher academy. And so there's a lot of things built into that to support people making that transition, whether they're coming in as a first-year special education teacher or as a experienced teacher from another school division but new to our school division. We also have a very robust mentoring program. So our new certified staff are also linked to a mentoring program. In each building, in addition to having mentors who work with those people, also have a lead mentor who helps oversee and communicate and coordinate that whole process.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that. But like, if there are other just, you know, just vacancies and other problems, if they're just like other things, like to expand the support, especially in a job that's particularly challenging, I would hope that the division would feel like they can bring ideas to us, because I don't have the background to necessarily, you know, effectively suggest those kinds of things. Thank you.
Ms. Bond? I'm good. Ms. Parton? Any other questions or comments, board? Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, board. We're in the home stretch. At our last meeting, we talked through our updated school board norms and protocols, kind of the compilation of the feedback that we'd all worked together on, talk through that. Do I have a motion to approve the school board norms and protocols as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Roundtree and a second by Ms. Bond. Any discussion? Okay. Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin? Dr. Guidry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. All right. Unfinished business. Are there any items of unfinished business? Any items from last meeting that need to be resolved, discussed?
No.
Okay. Are there any items of new business?
Yes.
Nope, no, I think we're done.
I have an order of new business. I would like to find out the interest of having EMT training in our schools or the schools that are able to do so. If the board chooses to have that conversation, put on an agenda item.
Cool. Okay.
Okay. Well, I think you just do show of hands of interest. Is that
Absolutely. I agree with Ms. Bond. It's needed. We've got a shortage. We're going to start having, they're going to start getting paid in the county and the towns, I do believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's coming. But we do need them, and it would be great if we could provide that service because that would also help with other areas of interest and study for our students as well.
And I will share I didn't realize, but the Board of Supervisors shared with us that Eastern Montgomery, the few that are volunteering are having to sleep and take shifts through the night because they have nobody to do it. And it's going to get worse because they can't get, people don't have time and don't want to volunteer the way that it used to be. And our area has grown so much. So it's going to be a real problem if we don't do something.
Yep.
I'd like to support that. What I think would be great is to have a presentation about CTE, and if there are other areas that we might want to consider in addition to that, as well as that. I know that we have a presentation about the curriculum as a whole, but I know, like, when I found out that there was a cosmetology program, I was like, that's amazing. And some of the other, and I don't know that our community, because we know during the campaign that there was a lot of chatter among the community and interest in the community in dual enrollment, not just in dual enrollment, but in trades and trades education. And I think it could speak to that element of our community, that segment of our community, who I think some of them don't even know the range that we have within our schools, and it is a time to evaluate potential areas that we might want to move into.
Well, and I've said that since I've been on the board. Most community members don't realize everything that we teach in public schools. I mean, they really don't. But we have sent out flyers, and that's kind of where that came from, to try to educate our community members. This is everything that is involved that you have no clue about. I mean, even with cosmetology. I mean, I've been out 40 years. So that's how long, and there's people that been doing it 20 years before me. I mean, so it's crazy how long. Penny, please. No, oh, yeah, I was going to say, don't be telling no ages now.
No, cosmetology has been offered at Christiansburg High School since
It's the beginning.
In fact, the first year, because it's a 2-year program, the folks who were in it had to come back the year after they graduated to complete the program. So it's one of the oldest
It is.
CET programs we have,
And,
for females anyway.
well,
Or
and
predominantly females.
that's right. But you're right. I mean, there's so much out there that we offer that, you know, not at all the schools, but at a lot. I mean, you know, and so, but EMT is something we're going to definitely have to look into. But if the board doesn't want to, that's fine. I just think we should.
No, I think it's very important because for some people think that they dial 911 and there's just going to be somebody showing up. And that's not the case now because, as you said, people don't have the time or don't feel the need to volunteer, and people are going to get paid, and that's going to cost taxpayers. But at the same time, if people need to get paid to have the services, then that's the way it's going to, times changed. But the more folks understand about the different functions of the county, and if the school system can help support that, we need to do it.
I appreciate you bringing it up, Ms. Bond. I remember being at a Board of Supervisors meeting, it's probably a couple of years ago now, where there was an audit of the emergency services in the county, and that was the recommendation from the auditors to please integrate this into the public schools. I can tell you about that, more about that meeting later. So I'm glad to hear that that the Board of Supervisors asked and are supportive of it. As the parent of a young person training to be a volunteer firefighter, it's really grueling. It's a lot of work, but also very, very fulfilling. And I'd love to be able to expand that service to our community. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm on board. And as far as the presentation, I agree. It would be nice to expand that presentation to what is available for CTE throughout the county. At what schools are they available, and what types of programs would benefit our students for building careers moving out of high school, and then also what would benefit Montgomery County as a county as a whole. And EMT is obviously one of those that would benefit the county.
If it's going to go in that direction, though, with that information, I also think that if we go that route, the presentation, in my opinion, should include, I'm going to use welding for an example, the certifications that are involved that we do offer. Cosmetology, licensure, nursing, what availabilities, whether it's, the CNA. That you can achieve, because I do think that's important for us and our community to know and to realize that these certifications that come along with the programs are important. I know sometimes, with the CNA, that should be completed. Cosmetology is completed. Welding, I'm not sure if we have that right certification for them to complete and get the necessity. Automotive, whether it's ASE, is that correct? But also furthering into, are we doing electricity anymore? Are we able to get students on the track toward journeymans and things like that? So, HVAC,
Yeah, but then
metalworking.
the new programs, especially Mr. Husband has helped to introduce, like our lab, our pharmaceutical techs. That was an amazing presentation from those folks. So there's a lot of opportunities, and it's unfortunate that people don't understand that what's here.
You're right. So we need to help them understand.
Yeah, and along with presenting what the certifications are that we do have students graduating with, for those programs that we don't have, that we're not meeting the certification recs, what would it take in order for us to go ahead and meet those certification recs?
Exactly. And also, we were just sharing that, I'm sure there could be people in the medical industry already, whether it be physicians or surgeons, that could aid in helping with those types of initiatives. I don't know what direction we go with that, but there's always sometimes people out there ready to help build a program if it's needed. And we know medical professionals are needed too.
All right, great. Sounds like we have a consensus on that, so we'll definitely get that going on a future agenda. All right, board, we're up to our announcements and information section. Are there any announcements anybody wants to share?
Sure. So let's see. Senate Bill 283, providing breakfast and lunch for free for all students in Virginia. I already reported, passed the Senate. The House passed it. And last Friday, the governor signed it. So we'll join California, Maine, Colorado, Minnesota, New Mexico, Vermont, Michigan, and Massachusetts as a state that provides free lunch and breakfast to our students, so that no student in our system is going hungry while they're at our schools.
I have one quick report. Finish. So I had the opportunity to attend. I didn't go to the first ELA curriculum meeting because it was all day and I couldn't participate, but I did participate in the follow-up one, which I think was last week. And I'm so glad that we've gone through this process. It was a wonderful conversation to witness as as the ELA teachers were talking about the different curriculums and the needs of their students, and just to see that engagement. So even though I know it put pressure on the administration to add that process to the spring, it was really wonderful to witness, and I'm looking forward to the final presentation from the administration. And I particularly want to compliment Tricia Metzel and how she navigated, and I'm sure it's a tremendous amount of work for her to pull this all together in such a short period of time, but I'm really grateful for her effort.
Board, any other announcements? All right. Upcoming school board meetings, you can see those are listed in board docs, including our next meeting next week. Back-to-back meetings. Good times. All right. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session as authorized by Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia to discuss 6 personnel matters and 1 legal matter?
So moved.
I'm sorry, Ms. Franklin. What was that?
No.
I think Ms. Purcell and Dr. Roundtree said something over here. I don't know. Any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Ms. Franklin?
If we have to, yes.
Dr. Guidry?
Yes.
Parton? Yes. Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. We're in closed session.